That's hilarious. 0-2. 0-2.
Hey, you don't
They
gotta
about to
come
be
at
0
me
and
like
3.
that, bro. Nah,
They about to be 0
we
and
about to
3.
be we're gonna be 1-2, bro. Trust, it's gonna be
Y'all
just
about to
fine,
be. Hey, y'all better not start off 0 and 3. And the
uh,
entire AFC North is 2-1. That'd be fucking hilarious.
Hey,
bro. Listen,
Hey, not too much on Joe Shiesty, bro. His calf is hurting.
bro. This is the pre-show content that we needed, bro. This friendly
Yeah.
banter when because my Bengals. You want to talk shit when we're down, bro? But come on, we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back. And
Gabe,
Jay's right there with
I
it.
mean, you're
y'all are gonna have the
yeah.
same
If
record
y'all,
as
bro, if
us.
y'all motherfuckers start off 0 and 3, bro, you're gonna hear it from me,
Oh,
and it's gonna be
we're
hilarious.
tanking for Caleb Williams at that point.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
you're not.
crazy.
No, you aren't beating out the Vikings. The Vikings are getting Caleb Williams, my friend.
Brother, you guys aren't even losing your own division. The Bears are
Bears.
not
The Bears are gonna slip one by because they're gonna put Nathan Peterman in over Justin Fields.
All right,
What the fuck makes you
don't hate
think
on my
Nathan
Buckeye
Peterman is
legends,
an
bro.
improvement over Justin Fields?
Bro, it's just gonna happen. Trust.
Didn't he? How many picks did he throw in one half? Was it
Hey,
5?
hey, I'm gonna say is as long as he hit,
Some ridiculous.
at least he's hitting a target.
Hey.
Yeah, the other team.
All right.
At least he's
We can
hitting the
say
target.
we can save the football talk, but let's go ahead and get this started. So officially after the pre-show, welcome back to another Key of Threes live stream for anybody tuning in live on YouTube, on Twitter, or wherever you may be seeing this content. We got a nice little panel here today. As usual, we got my guy Jay next to me, and next to him, we got my guy Garrett. Here in the bottom row, we got Mo, the sports historian, and we have Jelson, everybody's favorite biased Timberwolves fan. So, we got a couple good topics for you guys today, and we're going to start off with exactly what's on the thumbnail as to not mislead anybody coming in. And that is going to be the continuation of our position ranking series. This time we're going to be on power forwards. And so let's get a few disclaimers out of the way. Players who will be on this list that may be in question is a Kevin Durant. He'll be on this list. A Kristaps Porzingis. He'll be on this list. And Karl Anthony Towns will be on this list. Some who will not will be guys who were small forwards, such as Kawhi, LeBron, Jason Tatum. And, you know, I guess since we have like a Cat, we don't have a Gobert because I know that's one of the main situations. Is there anybody else that you guys want to bring up that might be kind of confusing before we get started?
Harrison Barnes will also be on this list.
Oh my god,
Bro.
I don't know why. I don't know how. But all
For
right.
NBA fans out there, I believe Siakam is also going to be on this list. He's not a center.
Chat, when
Oh,
you guys
Scotty
hear
Barnes.
Harrison Barnes out of Jay's mouth, just smile and nod.
Just
Smile and
Smile and
wave.
wave, boys.
Mm.
Smile and wave.
Mhm.
So that's a phenomenal reference. But we're going to get this started in the way. I think we've done pretty much all the other ones. So one person will say theirs, we'll go around, and everybody will say we'll go down the line. So for the first position for our number 10 spot, Jay is going to start us off. We'll go down the line until we get to me, and then we'll start with number 9 with Garrett and kind of go like that, just down the line, just for any clarity. But we're going to get right into it. So, Jay, you can give any of the quick honorable mentions if you have one. But besides that, who is the 10th best power forward in the NBA right now?
I just want to give a quick honorable mention to my boy Evan Mobley. Very nice.
Bro, there's no.
Y'all got him on the.
How do you start off immediately? How do you start off immediately on the wrong foot?
He's not a
bro?
top 10 power forward, bro. Stop.
What the fuck are you
I
I
don't
don't
have
have
him
him.
Mobley.
He's not
Shout
on
out
my
to
list
Mobley.
either.
Shout out to Evan Mobley, late scratch for Defensive Player of the Year. Led him and Jared Allen
He's
led
not.
the Cleveland Cavaliers to having the best defense in the NBA. That my Knicks absolutely torch. But my number 10 power forward in the NBA right now is Aaron Gordon. Shout out to AG, man. Got himself a ring. Aaron Gordon spent a lot of years over in Orlando, then came to the Denver Nuggets and immediately made an impact next to Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. And not only did he bring his offensive tools, but he took another step on the defensive end, clamping up some of the best players in the Western Conference. And I absolutely love how Aaron Gordon developed into one of the best two-way players at the power forward position.
Yeah. It's a big reason why I also have Aaron Gordon at number 10. See, you guys might be surprised, but it's like he was going to be very close to anyways. You think about this guy, he just locked up. I wouldn't say locked up, but he played as good a defense as you could ask for on basically some of the best premier wings, threes, fours in the NBA this past postseason. He sealed it off with a championship. He had big games along the run. I know he wasn't super consistent, but I think you can make an argument that maybe there's only like 2 or 3 guys that are like top tier star level consistent. And as for me, man, Aaron Gordon, I feel like he's consistently gotten better the last couple of years. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Aaron Gordon at my number 10. I was thinking he was gonna be very close, but I'm gonna give him the nod today. So good pick, Jay.
Hey, you know who's Garrett?
First off, I'm gonna give an honorable mention. You know I had to. Bulls bias. It's in full effect. Patrick Williams. He gonna crack this list next season. Just wait on it. But Aaron Gordon would have made my top 10 list, but we had some late additions that I had to make to keep continuity with the list. So at number 10, give me Kristaps Porzingis. I really like the addition of Porzingis to the Celtics. I feel like he brings something that the Celtics already had, but he improves upon it. You talk about the big man rotation of Porzingis, Rob Will, and Al Horford. That's going to be a real good rotation. He didn't play power forward last year, which is why I would have put him on the center list, but we put him on the power forward list, so I couldn't not include him on here. But yeah, I think number 10 is a pretty good spot for him. Elite shot blocker, very good at his role, and he's also a pretty good scorer when he needs to be. I feel like he's going to be a very good third option for this Celtics team. But yeah, at number 10, I got Kristaps Porzingis.
I got honor mentions of Aaron Gordon, Draymond Green, and Evan Mobley. But my number 10 power forward
like?
is Paolo Banchero.
Oh my God, no way.
I personally have Paolo here because I believe that he is one of the sole reasons why this Orlando Magic team, other than Markelle Fultz, which we talked about in previous live streams, he's one of the sole reasons this Magic team was competitive and fun to watch. He's improved throughout his rookie season. He's shown that he has the ability to hit mid-range shots and play good defense, and that's pretty much everything I'm looking forward out of a power forward position. Evan Mobley didn't make my list for quite the reason that he plays really good defense, but his offensive bag is literally non-existent. So I have Paolo Banchero at the number 10 spot.
Paolo at 10.
I'm actually not even mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
Holes in it.
No, bro, that's nasty, bro. Come on, brother barely plays defense and can't hit a 3.
Barely plays defense is okay.
I don't think it's nasty. I wouldn't have him there. Honestly, I'd probably have I guess since it's my turn, I'll tell you my first 2 honorable mentions were Evan Mobley and Draymond at 11 and 12. So Paolo would probably slot in there at about 13 because he showed a lot of really good flashes. I do just think there's some holes and some improvements. And while his upside is definitely much higher, I don't know if what he's giving yet is to the standard of the other guys because Evan Mobley was almost Defensive Player of the Year, and he's the first name off my list. So Paolo, who hasn't been to that level yet, even if he's shown that potential, I can't put him there just yet. But, I didn't think Jay's take was bad at all because, like I said, Evan Mobley first name off the list, and the first name on the list at number 10, I also have Aaron Gordon. I didn't think that was crazy at all. Even take out just the raw he won a ring argument, but what he did throughout that playoff run, being able to match up onto the opposing team's best player night in, night out, and do some really solid work on them. And at the same time, if you put the wrong matchup on him, he could punish you on offense as well. I think that's something that Evan Mobley cannot do as well. And while their defensive roles might be a little bit different, Evan Mobley being a big and Aaron Gordon doing it as a wing, Gordon does that so well. And in the finals, when they put a smaller defender on him, he really would take advantage of that and had at least 1 or 2 nights where he was just scoring really well. And we saw in Orlando, he has that scoring potential. So I just think his game is maybe a little bit more well-rounded than Mobley's at this point. And that recency bias of just what has he done for me recently and how he elevated his game in the playoffs versus Evan Mobley, who obviously didn't do much on offense and had that significant defensive fall off, especially in terms of rebounding when it came playoff time.
Absolutely.
I do want to add to that though is early in the season, there's quite a switch. Aaron Gordon that I like to see was early in the season. There was times where he looked literally terrible, and he looked like he was either very good and doing what we saw him do towards the end of the season into the playoffs, but there were also moments where he looked like he was doing nothing at all. But towards the end of the season, second half of the season, he really cleaned up those problems that he had. So I got to give him credit for that.
I mean, to be fair though, you put Paulo at 10, and he shot like 3% from 3 for a month.
Yeah,
I think.
Justin,
Well,
come
for
on,
my
bro.
thing is Paulo Banchero has shown to me more so that he is able to score period better than like Aaron Gordon can.
I don't hate the Paulo pick. I'm just saying, like, for the
No, right,
point
right,
of
right.
like,
There's
having
there's
bad
pros and
stretches, you know what I mean? Like,
No, right.
I think
I
Paolo's
think
a much more dynamic player. He's
Yeah.
just, I wouldn't say he's better yet, even if his skill set might be a little bit more versatile in terms of what he can do for you as like a future star. With that said, though, we are going to move right on to number 9, and we will be starting off with Garrett. So you had Gordon at 10. Who's at 9?
Gare Bear.
so Gare Bear has yo, what's up,
Sports
Sports
Wiki, my
Wikipedia,
guy.
Sports Wiki.
What am?
the GOAT. All right, so my number 9,
Right here.
my number 9, I got Kristaps Porzingis. Now honestly, I feel like, at least for me, based on what we saw last season, he probably is better than my guy at number 8, but I feel like they could be very close, and I feel like my guy at number 8 is going to have a better season. But with Kristaps, it's like he adds a whole new dynamic now to this Boston Celtics team that it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out, because I mean, you think about like basically a Twin Towers matchup of him and Rob Williams, two guys that are very capable of blocking shots, and then Tatum and Brown on the perimeter to create. You still have guys that can shoot like Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon. I feel like that's a perfect system for a guy like Porzingis to thrive in. And I don't think he's going to get like on a good team, like nearly he's not asked to do as much as he was like in Dallas either, but he's also not going to be completely overlooked like he was in Washington. He's in a perfect situation for him to thrive and maybe not get like so much of the burden on his shoulders in the meantime, especially because we know how much of that already falls on the Celtics main duo. So I'm gonna put Kristaps at number 9.
I'm not mad at it. Like I said, I had him at number 10. But at number 9, give me I think he was a runner-up to Defensive Player of the Year. Give me Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley, man. I still think that his role would be best suited as playing that center position, but his body not ready for that right now. He had to put on some more weight, not even muscle, just weight, because he's really skinny, really lanky. And him banging down in a post with the centers is just not going to be. It's not going to be a good thing with his current body composition. So he probably got maybe 2-3 more years until he takes over that full-time role. And obviously he's being helped out with Jared Allen. But Evan Mobley, man, like it was said earlier, the anchor to what was a top defense all year. Didn't look like that in the playoffs. And I give him a mulligan because he's a young player. But Evan Mobley, his upside is crazy. And I think, for one, that he's probably the second best, not even probably. He's the second best defender on this list, and that's got to count for something. Like I said, anchored that Cavs defense the entire year, had them looking really, really good throughout the regular season. Definitely want to see him improve when it comes to his offensive game, but I'm not gonna harp on him too heavy for that, because they just added Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell gonna need the ball in his hands a lot to be effective. So what progression we would have saw, it got stifled by, and I don't want to say stifled, but I mean it did. The ball was taken out of Garland's hands, who would have been the guy to set up Mobley with more lives and get him more touches, in favor of somebody that's already a 3-level scorer and who is obviously a better offensive player than Mobley is, and probably than Mobley will ever be, but that's not a knock on him. Donovan Mitchell's just that good. I got Mobley at 9. He has the capabilities to move up this list for sure. I just want his offensive game to improve significantly. Taking some more of those mid-ranges, being more than just a lob threat and a threat closer to the rim. And even speaking of that, with his deficiencies on offense, he averaged 16 points a game, and that's up from last year. And this was only his second year, so you got to be patient with him a little bit. Be patient with him. But I got Evan Mobley at number 9.
Wait, Mo, is Evan Mobley better than Kristaps Porzingis right now?
Yes.
I disagree.
I disagree.
I disagree. Hey, on this comment, Larry Markkinen ranked 4 through 7 in power
Hey,
forwards.
hey, Sports
Why don't you
Wiki.
keep watching?
Sports Wiki.
And we'll
Chill.
let you know. We'll let you know.
wait,
That's
damn it.
WB.
Wait your turn. But yeah, Evan Mobley's better than Porzingis right now.
I think that's cap. I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I'm with Jay on that, actually.
Justin can let us know if it's cap. Maybe here. What's your number 9?
Well, he did say Mobley was already an honorable mention, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So
you don't know if Porzingis is on the list yet, bro. Like,
Yeah, you got to keep watching. You got to keep
I
watching.
mean, if he's not, then if we're about to get heated, go ahead.
My number 9 is slight hating and slight honest truth. My number 9 is Julius Randle.
9? Justin, bro, come on, that's too low, bro.
You got to stop
That's
with
too
the
low.
fake
All
out.
NBA
Your
players.
list is already some bullshit. You stop with the fake outrage right now, man.
My list is
You
how's
stop
my list
it.
bullshit? You literally have
Bro.
Evan Mobley above Kristaps Porzingis.
You have Harrison Barnes on your list.
That was a troll. I was completely trolling. I was trolling.
Yeah, it was nah.
Hey, okay.
Okay. It
Oh
was a
God,
troll.
Harrison Barnes
It
on my
was a
fucking
troll.
list. What?
Yeah, yes, he is sports
That's
rookie.
funny.
He is a power forward. I have Julius Randle here because slight looking into the future, and Julius Randle's had good years and bad years, and it's pretty much alternated throughout his career. And I don't like to look forward on these rankings, but I mean, it's something that I have to look into. Like, it's just how he has played. He's a glorified shot chucker, a guy that consistently gets worse in the playoffs, a guy that provides pretty much nothing on both sides of the ball in the clutch. And I don't buy into a lot of things Julius Randle brings to the table. Do I think that he can win you some games? Of course, he's proven that he can win you some games. But going on to this list, going forward, the guys that I have more potential to bring more to the table than what a Julius Randle has done in so far in his career. Can that change? Of course. But Julius Randle at this point is number 9 on my list.
His bag talk is weak, man. His bag talk is weak.
Justin, Kristaps Porzingis was your 10, right?
No, Paolo Banchero was my 10.
All right.
I don't think that's terrible. I was actually very close.
No, Gabe, that's awful. Gabe, that's fucking awful.
You have
Wait.
Julius Randle at 3.
What's awful about that? What's awful
Wait and
about
see
that?
then. Jesus.
What's awful
Bro,
about that?
number 9, an all NBA player, bro. Come on.
I don't
bro.
care about all NBA rankings if I'm being honest.
Okay, listen. Okay, so this is what I want to say. So I did end up putting Porzingis here at 9, which means that I do have Julius Randle higher than him. But I don't think it's that outlandish. The only reason why I put Porzingis a bit lower is because I think the responsibilities asked of him are a bit less. And even with that said, like
A lot less.
I think and with that, like Porzingis was able to kind of like thrive in that role. But if you look back and you look at everything Porzingis has to show for his resume, like not only was last season in Washington his first fully healthy season where he's not on and off the court in a while, but like it was also his best statistical year, but it was in a year where Washington wasn't really doing shit. And when we have seen Porzingis in like a playoff setting, he didn't really show up that well either. So like most of the things that I could hold against to Julius Randle as far as like, oh, he disappears in the playoffs. Oh, sometimes the difficult shots like stop going in. Like I do think there's valid knocks against Porzingis' game as well. And he hasn't really been proving it consistently for as long as Julius Randle has, which is why I ended up putting Julius Randle above him. But I do think it's pretty close. It's just a hard direct comparison to make because I do think one is asked to be like one of the lead offensive initiators on the team, and the other one is a little bit more set into a role. But with that tangent, I do have Kristaps Porzingis at number 9.
At number 9, Gabe Garrett twin. I got Kristaps Porzingis at 9 as well. I'm not gonna lie, you guys said it's close between him and Julius Randle. It's completely not. Julius Randle throughout his time in New York got asked to do a lot more than Kristaps Porzingis ever had since he was in New York.
And he sucked at it.
We're not gonna be twinning on AJ.
Most improved player, all NBA. Stop it, bro. Stop it. No, he has not.
I agree.
The only one that all
most of
NBA
the
is that first one.
Pretty
that
clear
second
in my
all
opinion.
NBA is bullshit in my opinion. But what do I know?
All right. Yeah, I got Kristaps Porzingis at. I didn't hear what you said, Mo.
I said the first one. I give you the first all NBA. He earned that one. That second one, nah. I'm not rocking with that one. I don't think
Derrick Rose got him all NBA that year.
All right.
Speak on it.
Propaganda is nasty, bro.
Bro,
But you-
they weren't even.
You
they were
are the
under
last
500
person that can
before
say
he got
that,
there.
bro. You the
No,
last
no, no,
person that
no,
can
no,
do
no.
that.
No, this is one of my lists that's actually like fucking solid. Hey, no, y'all need to get on Jelson Nash because that Paolo at 10 and Julius at 9. Fuck
I'm
no,
not.
bro.
I'm not gonna lie.
Fuck
Hey, you're
I
not gonna
can't-
like me
I
in a minute
can't-
here,
listen,
Jay. That's all I'm gonna
We're
say.
hating. No, we're hating. We're
You will
hating
not
on
like
Jay.
me.
We're hating on Jay a little bit too hard when his list literally matches 2 of the other people on the panel.
For now,
For
If-
now.
I'm just
if I get
giving
an
him shit
egregious
about Julius
take-
Randle. I'm
If
just
I
giving
get
him
an
shit about
egregious
Julius Randle.
take later, that's one thing.
Yeah, okay.
However, for now, I cannot hate until I've been given a reason to. But what I can do is go to Mo for our
You're not a
number
real
8
hater.
spot.
that was
Not
quite the
really.
transition there.
Yeah.
Jay.
I
That's a
knew
good
it
transition.
was coming.
Bro. Come on, you know the transitions are coming when I'm in this spot.
That's crazy. It's all right. You're not a real hater, and that's all right. Everybody's not a hater at heart like me.
Haters.
We on number 8, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Number 8, man. I couldn't justify putting him any higher, but in my defense, he would have been higher had it not been some last minute, additions on this list. Give me Julius Randle at 8. I feel like with Julius Randle, bro, it's just like one of the big things that I notice in players is low IQ, and Julius Randle is a very low IQ player at times. He's not always, because when Julius Randle's effective, he's a very effective player, and he's very, very good, which is why I had him on the list. I'm not gonna be one of those guys that just completely leave him off the list, even though I don't like Julius Randle. But I gotta admit, game is game, and when he's on, he's on. He's just off way too much for me, so I couldn't justify putting him over any of the guys that I have, 7 through 1. But to be positive about Julius Randle, his defense is something that isn't really talked about. He is a positive defender, and he's a very good defender at times. Not all the time, but he's a positive. He's a positive defender. He's not a positive defender. Hey,
No, he's not.
the games I be watching, he don't be like terrible. I think he's a positive defender.
He's good
ain't
enough
like
of a defender to play in a Tom Thibodeau system.
No,
You gotta
his
say he's not
size-
terrible. I feel like he's not a good defender.
No, his
I
size
feel like,
makes
I
him
feel
look
like
like a good
I feel like
defender.
he's a positive defender.
No, he does not try, bro. He does not try. Let's be honest. He does not try.
Well,
I feel
hey,
like
if I'm wrong,
I would
on
agree
it's
with
probably
that.
'cause
I don't
don't
think
watch
he's
enough
the
Knicks
highest.
games.
I don't think he's
I
the
ain't say he's the
ever
highest, but like
defensive
he's
player.
a
I mean,
positive defender.
It's
Like,
just his size.
when
for real.
you talk about like that IQ thing,
He's
like
6'9", he
low
got good
IQ
size.
Player,
He's
No,
like
no, I'm saying
seven.
That's what makes him look
defenders
like a good
high-
defender
at
because he's
least
built
better
as
than him
well.
on my list.
I think
You saying my eye test failing me?
you know
Might
what
be.
you know what I think it is
That's
Mo.
crazy.
I was thinking the same thing, and I think it honestly might be the fact that Tom Thibodeau, for the crap I give him, I feel like Tom Thibodeau is such a mastermind on the defensive end that he can almost hide Julius Randle just enough to make it seem like he's a positive defender. Like I just feel like that's kind of how it is. We know Tom Thibodeau's a mastermind with all that, so
like the Knicks are a positive team defense, so like I feel like you have to be pretty bad to be in a good defensive system and really look like that much of a weakness, especially at that 4 spot. Because like, if you're a guard and you're in a good defensive system, but it's like clear that these perimeter guys are just blowing right by you every time.
Alex
we got
Korver was
Mitchell
top 10
Robinson.
in defensive rating back-to-back years in the Bulls system. Just
We
putting
got
that out
Mitchell
there.
Robinson down there to clean up everything.
Putting that
that
out there.
Julius Randle, let's go.
And I love
by.
Korver.
Well, regardless, Julius Randle at 8. He ain't going no higher than this, Jay. So
my number
Listen to
8
you with that?
my number 8 is Kristaps Porzingis.
Okay.
Over Julius is insane, bro.
The reason I feel like there's a lot of the similarities I can bring up with Julius Randle and Kristaps Porzingis in the way that sometimes Kristaps Porzingis is also a glorified shot checker, but I feel like he plays his role consistently better when healthy, and that's the biggest thing. When healthy, last year it is the most healthy season was last year for him. His best season for him was last year. I like the defensive upside with Kristaps Porzingis is so significantly higher than what Julius Randle brings to the table that like that almost strictly, because in my opinion, I think Julius Randle is slightly better offensively than like Kristaps Porzingis would be. But the defense of Kristaps Porzingis potentially being your primary rim protector and having him on the secondary help really put him over over Randall for me.
Like I said, I don't hate it. I mean, I do have Julius Randle here at 8, and I kind of gave my take on it earlier. I just think that Julius Randle has definitely shown enough for long enough while being given this role of being one of the primary initiators on offense. He did have the one down season, but I think he returned to form this past year. And really, I think having like a real initiator at point guard and like a true like number one level guy next to him really helped him out, because I don't think he's built to be a number one on a good team. I think he was able to do that in 2021, and props to him for doing that. But I think consistently being that number 2 guy is going to be a lot better for him. Now, those playoff fall-offs do make it hard to put him any higher, and just the fact that, kind of like what Mo was saying, is when he's off, he's really off, and I do think that makes it to a point where it's like, what is he contributing right now? Whereas a lot of the other guys on the list, I feel like you can always look at them and say they're contributing at least something. So I got him at 8.
Wait, you said you got Julius at 8?
Yeah.
So my number 8. Wait, I didn't really get to give my spiel about Kristaps. Kristaps, he really struggled like when it comes to post scoring, especially in Dallas. And last year he has been the most effective in the post, and I think that's a big piece of why he was so successful with Washington. And you got I'll wait till Julius Randle comes out. But my number 8 is Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen had an insane season with the Utah Jazz. I would say, well, I mean, I think we all say his career year, phenomenal year. But unfortunately, the Utah Jazz just weren't good enough. And at the end of the year, they pretty much tanked. They didn't play a lot of their good players in order to get a good draft pick. But Lauri Markkanen absolutely took the next step in his game. I think he's going to continue to get better, as well as the Utah Jazz, because I feel like they got a lot of pieces over there in Utah that people might be sleeping on them. They might be brought up in one of our next topics after this top 10 list. But I got Lauri Markkanen at 8, bro.
Hey, no spoilers, but I think you're sleeping on Lauri Markkanen right now. No spoilers.
And number 8?
Yeah.
Don't wait. Hold. Let me say. The only reason I have him at 8, although his rebounding is there, his offensive game is incredibly sharp. I'm not buying in on his defense just yet, and that's pretty much why I got him at 8.
That's fair.
All right. My number 8. I said it's gonna turn some heads, but I'm willing to explain my reasoning. Now, like I said, 8. I feel like we're basing off last season. I would probably put my number 9, which I had Kristaps, definitely over this guy. But I feel like this guy is going to take a step. And I mean, I kind of mentioned it a few episodes back when we were talking about first-time All-Stars. But I think he's going to take a step up. I think his team's going to be playing well. And I have high expectations for both of them. Number 8, I have Paolo.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Let's go, Garrett.
Now-
Ball
now-
nowhere.
No.
Hold on a second.
8?
8, yeah. Now hear me out.
Wait, hold up. I do have a question before. Are you
Okay.
doing this based off of a projection of what he'll be by the end of
I mean,
next
he has
season?
to
Or do you
be
genuinely
soft
think that?
projection.
Do you think
I
that
think-
right now he's a better player than the guys?
So I think if we were basing off simply last year, I would put him probably like going into next year based off last year. I'd put him like 9. So Kristaps is above him for sure.
So he would make your top 10 regardless?
Yeah, he would.
Bro, y'all are
Okay.
Here's-
blazing Paolo.
Here's the thing though about Paolo, because I know, like I said to Jelson, like he had like a month where he shot like 3% from 3. If you look at the rest of his whole season, he was shooting like 36-37% from 3, which that never gets taken into account. A big like that could stretch the floor. He can be a big body down low. He has the fadeaway on lock. I feel like he has a much more smooth offensive game than a lot of these other forwards, like power forwards in this range. I mean, there's a lot above them that is like he's not in their class, at least not yet. But the other thing about Paolo that maybe some of these other guys don't have, that at least I think he does, is just like he's one of the guys that it doesn't feel like he ever like wants to lose. And for me, if it's like I'm looking at my team, whether it's him or I'm looking at like someone else who's like lethargic half the time, give me the guy who's young, hungry, and is always going to show me 100% rather than the guy who's maybe going to show me like 50%. And I feel like
Julius
there's some
Randle.
guys. Yeah, exactly. Julius Randle. So, and that, again, like if we're talking about simply bag talk, yeah, you could go like either or, I suppose. But I trust Paolo a little bit more. I feel like he just kind of had he hit the rookie wall in literally right after my birthday. And the later month and a half of that season, he was playing well. What I do expect though from the Magic this coming year, they're going to be healthy. When they got Fultz healthy last year, they were above 500. So they're going to be healthy. And I said this already. I think they're going to be a playoff team. As for the Knicks, I think that they're not going to be the 5th seed. Now they could still make the playoffs. But I think you also have to factor in Paolo is going to be the number 1 on this Orlando Magic team, whereas I think Jalen Brunson is going to be the clear-cut I am the guy in New York. Julius Randle is going to be the number 2.
Paolo is not going to have a better year than Julius Randle. Let's make that clear right now.
Want to bet money on it?
I think
bet money
he
on
might. I think
could.
There's definitely a chance that he could. There's also a chance he takes a sophomore slump. So there really is no guarantee there. I think it's definitely possible. I think if you're projecting who's going to be a better player a year from now, I could easily see Paolo taking that step. I just don't think he's there yet. I don't think he has enough to show for it.
Just my biggest point is you also have to factor in the team around them. But what I'm saying though is just I know what I'm going to get out of Paolo every night, even if he has a terrible shooting game, which he had a lot of those from late January to March 1st this past season. Julius Randle, I don't know what I'm going to get some nights. Some nights he might go crazy against the Miami Heat. The next night he's not going to play any defense, and he might have beef with Tom Thibodeau.
Oh wait, Gary, I got a question. So when Paolo's shot isn't going in, what are you getting from him?
You're getting someone who works hard on the boards, works hard on defense, and can still create for his teammates. As for
Ben doesn't
Julius
yell
Randle,
at his coach.
Julius Randle, a lot of the times whenever he's taking himself out of the play, it feels like he's either taking bad shots, which is a credit to what Mo said with low IQ, or he's just taking himself completely out of the play. And it's that's dead weight on the floor.
I will say, I think based on Garrett's criteria of how he usually ranks players, it's a very consistent pick because I know when we talked about this on the shooting guards list, I know especially when we were having the Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker debate, you mentioned a lot of I like his leadership and intangibles, and that's one of the things that put him higher for me. And so from an intangible standpoint, I can see why you would prefer Paolo, even if that's not my criteria. So I mean, for knowing your ranking style, I do understand the take, and I do like the consistency, even if it's a take I disagree with. But I do want to move on. To number 7, and we are going to start with Justin for this one.
My number 7 is a guy we talked about a little bit before the stream. Zion Williamson is my number 7.
Oh my fucking God.
I have Zion Williamson this low strictly on the best availability, and this man does not play basketball games. When healthy, he is much higher than this. I'll give you 100% of that. He is much higher than this when healthy.
Why the fuck Kristaps so high on your list then?
Because last year he was actually healthy. Zion has never been healthy. Never.
That whole 60 season game that he played that doesn't exist.
Wait, you haven't had Kristaps yet? You haven't said him yet?
No, I had.
No, he did. He had him over Julius Randle specifically, who has been healthy consistently.
Julius Randle.
I mean, I did.
If we're gonna keep going to this Julius Randle topic, Julius Randle doesn't try half the time. So.
Oh wait, no. I'm talking about health. Talking about health because you said
it doesn't matter if Julius Randle isn't trying half the time. He's basically not in the game anyway.
Okay,
he's
but you got him
dead
over
weight on the
Kristaps
court.
Porzingis, who has struggled with health his entire career.
It's the Hassan Whiteside thing that Steph was talking about the other day, or not the other day, but the one stream when we did that redraft. And it's yeah, he can give you numbers. He can have great games. He can also have ugly games.
So wait, Justin, take me to your rankings. So Justin, you have Paolo 10,
Paolo, Randle, Randle's 9. Porzingis is 8. I have Zion. I have Zion at 7. And let me get this off. If healthy, he's much higher, and I'll 100% say that. But best ability is availability, and then on top of that, there's the drama that goes around with Zion. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know if he's healthy or not. I don't know if he wants his way out and he's doing the Kawhi Leonard thing. But you spend a first overall pick on a guy, and he's kind of a question mark. You don't really know if he's healthy. You don't know all this stuff. It drops his ranking. I mean, he's not playing basketball games. It's that simple. He's not playing, so it doesn't matter how good he is. But when healthy, his ability, when healthy, puts him at 7, even though he doesn't play basketball games. That's how good of a basketball player he is when healthy. if he's healthy and if he's getting the minutes and if he's on the court, Zion's probably in my top 4. He is in my top 4. But as of right now, he's not in my top 4 because he doesn't play basketball games.
I know he's in Jelson's top 3 already.
Okay, so I've had a very consistent ranking
Which,
style.
hey, hold on, Gabe.
Yeah.
Which will be contradictory to what he just said. So,
No,
Just saying.
who you think I have my top 3, I don't have.
I ain't say nothing.
We're gonna get it. Well, we will get into it. Let me get into it. So
I
let's
have him in
not
my
get
top
too
3.
far. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. But I will say, because you're talking about Zion right now, so that can of worms has been open. Usually, when it comes to injured players, I say like injuries will move you down, but only among players that I think are in your tier. So, like, if I think you're just head and shoulders like a better player than somebody, I'm still going to put you over them. But, like, in a case like Zion, players that are on the same tier as him, I'd probably put him below just because he is the more injured player, if that makes sense.
But that, I ain't gonna say nothing.
That's fair. You did say that the last time, too, on the shooting guard one.
Yeah, so I usually go with that same one. I haven't really had a super injury-prone player. I mean, Porzingis in the past, but, like, going on last season, like, that hasn't been a case on this list yet. But here at 7, I do have Lauri Markkanen. So I think just putting him a little bit over Randall, I think there's trade-offs there because, like I mentioned, Julius Randle falling off in the playoffs. Well, Lowry's the star-level guy, hasn't been there. But what I do like is that his game, the efficiency he showed on the offensive end, when I don't think the cast around him was all that great. Obviously, they finished as like a 12 seed. To be able to score the ball at that rate, at that volume, at that efficiency, really the first time you've been given the green light to do so, that was really impressive to me. I think it's a game and a play style that shows the ability to stay consistent, even if I haven't seen that yet. So maybe he drops off a little bit if that production doesn't stay the same. But from what I saw, I do think it's production that can stay very similar. And a team that a lot of people are even projecting to be a bit better than they were last year, even if I'm not so sure myself if they're going to make a jump like that. But Lowry specifically, I mean, coming off this most improved campaign, really the main thing I can say about it is the team overall wasn't great, and he hasn't done it for that long. But as far as what he's actually done, he was a number 1 option all-star, putting up a very efficient 25 and 8. And so I really don't have many drawbacks to say besides I hope he can replicate this again.
And he was robbed of all NBA.
Yeah. And so, like, where I say, like, Randall was over Porzingis because Randall has a bit more consistency to show for it, I did give Lowry that edge over Randall because he was doing it as, like, a number 1 option, whereas Porzingis plays more in a role, to clarify that. But obviously, I mean, Lowry over Randall isn't really that big of a hot take on this panel. So I don't
No, it is. It is. Oh, for sure.
No,
it's not.
Only
Wait,
one person.
Wait a minute. Because y'all shitting on Julius Randle for some odd reason. I hate him.
I'm not
What do you mean for some odd reason?
No. I hate on him too, but y'all are taking it to a whole nother level.
It's not shitting on him. I gave the reasons why I have him over some players.
But you're not taking into account that he's playing on a winning team. Like a lot of players in the league.
The Knicks are a winning team. Hold on, Jake. Say that one more time with a straight face so that I know.
They are a winning team.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
The Knicks are a winning team.
They are a winning
Chicago
team.
Bulls fan talking?
It's literally they are.
Yeah,
we're
not a winning team.
We're not a
winning team, bro.
Yes,
we're not
we
a winning
are.
team.
I know we're not a winning team.
I know.
The Knicks aren't.
We've had this conversation before. By record, the Knicks are definitely a winning.
That's
team.
not what I'm going by, but
you talking about contending team?
Contending team. I've been showing this whole stream, so I'm gonna let you have this at least.
Contending team play really good. I think they have a really good system to play winning ball, and I think that's a reason why they took out Cleveland so effectively because their system was just that good to where players who are not the level of talent that guys like Cleveland had, they outperformed them because the system and the team ball of the Knicks was that good. Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein are not better than Evan Mobley and Jared Allen.
We play harder.
And we are getting there. Sports Wikipedia.
We'll get there when we get there.
Top 5? Wiki, you bugging. Wiki.
I'm guessing Jay is not. I'm guessing there's at max. You're gonna have 4 people that do.
What did you Jay? What did you just say?
Wiki's bugging. No, wait, not Gabe. I'm still on your ass though. But there's no reason you should have
What?
Lauri Markkanen over Julius Randle, bro. A winning team matters.
Why?
Cause he's playing on a
Julius
Utah
Randle
Jazz
wasn't
team.
the reason your team won.
Bro, the Jazz very well could have
Because he
made the
was
playoffs if they
injured.
didn't literally rest
Like,
everybody
Can we
then
get some
last
context?
year.
He was injured.
Yeah,
He was
like
injured.
the Jazz, they were not playing people at the end of the season.
They
which
gave
also
up.
affected their win total.
Even
Yeah.
before
Jordan
they-
Clarkson's
the
last
needle
appearance
mover-
was
I
the
think
skills
the needle-
challenge. He painted
the
his
needle
nails,
mover-
did the skills, and left.
Dude, the needle mover in New York, to me, was more so Jalen Brunson
100%. 100%.
because Julius Randle had the one good year in 2021, but the year after he looked like ass, and him as a number one option, they fell off and were just as bad as a team that had Lauri Markkanen as the number one option. The 2022
D Rose
Knicks
got hurt.
and the
D
2023
Rose got hurt,
Jazz
and what happened?
were a very
What happened,
similar
Jay?
level team. So if you put a needle mover like Jalen Brunson on
It's
the
true,
Jazz, I do think that's a very similar type jump that they could make because I think there's talent on the roster, especially with the same level of coaching and everything that's going on with the system there. So I do think they're very similar level players, but I do think that Lauri Markkanen's game is built to be a lot more consistent, whereas Julius Randle has these wild ups and downs. And honestly, Julius Randle's ups are probably just as high as the ups of Lauri Markkanen, but the downs
Higher.
are way lower.
Oh, for sure.
And the
I would say
effort.
Julius Randle's
And
probably
effort.
a more inconsistent player, but you're not taking into account that Julius Randle as a number one option led the Knicks to the playoffs. Lauri Markkanen, we haven't seen that from Lauri
Yes,
yet.
3 years ago.
Oh,
3 years
okay.
ago, when
Okay, and
Derrick
he was-
Rose was spoon feeding him.
Okay,
Yeah.
and he was the second option on the team that was the 5th seed this year, and we haven't seen anything like that from Lauri Markkanen. I think y'all are over. Yeah, I think y'all just hating on Julius Randle at this
We
point.
saw Julius Randle. Gabe made a great point. We saw Julius Randle do the same thing Lauri Markkanen did last year, or 2 years ago. I mean, like, what's the difference? I mean,
But
if
we haven't
talk-
seen Lauri Markkanen hasn't had that number one option resume.
have you
to lay-
seen the Jazz's
question.
team?
And I got a question for Jay. How many? Just I'm asking Jay.
Knicks
how many
team
more-
2 years ago? What?
How many more wins do you think the Jazz would have had this past year if they didn't start arresting people after All-Star break?
They probably
How
would have
many
had a good amount of wins, but let me just say, Garrett, that they weren't playing. They fell off, probably at the halfway point of the year before they started to tank for real.
Fell off.
It's not-
No,
Lauri
they
Markkanen
didn't. They
got-
were in the
They're
playoff
players.
hunt the whole way. I'm pulling this up, bro.
Hey,
pull it up.
and-
You know,
and-
there's
no,
a
no, I know-
historical
wait.
standings website,
I know what you're
bro.
talking about, Jay. I know exactly what you're talking about, but it was because Lauri Markkanen got hurt for a little bit, and then they started to lose games. That's what you're talking about. Lauri
Okay,
Markkanen.
If
But
that's the
he
case, then if that's the case, then okay. If that's the case, then okay. That's fine. That's fine. But there's no reason Lauri Markkanen should be over Julius Randle. I think that's crazy.
I like
Hey,
that.
on
I just like
Valentine's
the
Day this
consistency.
year, right around All-Star break, they were one game back of the 8th seed,
Okay.
and they were in 9th.
That's like a month away from the playoffs, bro.
Okay. So was
And they sat Jordan Clarkson basically the whole time after that. And Markkanen even missed games after that too. He was basically resting. The only guy that was playing was like Sexton with a bunch. Like, dude, Chris Dunn got signed.
I mean,
He was out of nowhere.
If that's the case, if that was the direction that the Utah Jazz was going, then I guess that's not a very good
And
argument.
they traded Vanderbilt. They traded Beasley, who was playing well for them. He might not have for the Lakers, but like, bro, they sent a lot of their guys out. Conley.
Okay. I mean, that's cool. But even so, Julius Randle is still a better player. We've seen him be a better player at the number one option, and we haven't seen that from Lauri Markkanen. You could say, it's because
I mean, we kind of just did this year. That he just
No,
got
we
like
haven't.
he got an unfair deal.
All right,
Danny Ainge
that's
wanted to
the
start
Utah
over.
Jazz's
Okay.
fault.
Okay, let's
Okay,
keep
let's
pushing.
continue.
All
Let's
right,
continue.
we do have to keep going. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So number
Jay.
7, I got Jaren Jackson
we,
Jr.
we have to. We can't just talk about
Wait,
Julius
wait,
Randle off screen.
wait. What did you
Yeah.
just say?
At
We're
number
not-
7, I have
we're not getting
Wiki.
anywhere.
Wiki. At number 7, I have Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr. Phenomenal player, one of the best two-way players at the power forward position. The reason I have him at number 7 below some of the guys that I have above him is because he is, I would say, the third option on his team, and he does have some flaws of his own. Yes, he improved with the fouling, but not all the way. He is still a very foul prone player. Defensive player of the year for sure. Had an incredible year. But me personally, I would like to see this year Jaren Jackson Jr. get more touches. In the playoffs when Ja Morant was out, he looked phenomenal. He looked incredible with the ball in his hands, and I want to see more of that. But he hasn't gotten the opportunity for that to happen. And the guys I got above him, they're go-to guys. They're guys I'll pass the ball to, and they go get you a bucket, as well as somewhat hold their own on the defensive end. Now, there is a guy above him that, like I said before, isn't a great defensive player, but he does a lot on the offensive end that gives him the leap over Jaren Jackson Jr. So that's why I got him at 7.
Yeah. So my number 7, I agree with Gabe. This is where I have Lauri Markkanen. And as much as I wanted to put him over my number 6, I just couldn't do it. Like, I feel like if we're basing off the number 1 option thing and who we would rather build our team around as the primary option, I guess I'd probably take Markkanen over my guy number 6. But it's like my guy number 6, I feel like just fits his role a little bit better. But Markkanen, I mean, like I said, he was snubbed of All-NBA this past year. I do think they would have at least been in the play-in, at least where OKC was this past year. Like, if they didn't start resting guys literally, and they could have made the playoffs maybe, especially if they didn't trade a lot of their dudes. So I feel like he deserves a little bit more appreciation for what he did this past year. And there's a reason why, like, he was literally selected after I can't remember who the injury was, but there's a reason why he was selected as the replacement for the starting position in the All-Star game this past year. So I'm gonna go with my guy, Lowry legend, Bulls legend, at number 7.
I'm gonna follow that up with agreeing with you and with Gabe. Bulls legend Lauri Markkanen at number 7. I really, really liked what I saw from Lauri Markkanen last year, man. And I was very surprised when, you know what I'm saying, he went to the Jazz, and lo and behold, they gave him the keys to the offense, and this motherfucker is a 25, 26 point per game scorer on crazy efficiency. Really, really, really sucks that he got hurt, because I would have wanted him to see him finish out the season like strong. Had he finished out the season, no doubt in my mind, he would have made an All-NBA team, which is like crazy to think that he was riding on the bench for the Cavs last year. For the Cavs, right? Yeah, for the Cavs last year. And like it just, all it takes is a change of scenery, and you know what I'm saying, some people that have some faith in you. That is definitely a dig to the Bulls, because what the fuck? How do we let this disappear? Not disappear. How do we let this guy off of our roster, and then he turns into this? What the fuck is our problem? I don't get it. I really don't get it. But Lauri Markkanen, very, very good player. I want to see more of this next year. I hope this isn't a one-year wonder type deal. I don't think it is. And yeah, Lauri Markkanen is my number 7. I really, really, really like what I saw from him this season.
Let me add one more thing real quick, because I just wanted to say, because I know we didn't talk about, like, he doesn't have the playoff experience, but hey, at least play in Lowry from with the Cavs. He was cooking. We can't deny that he was literally the best player when facing elimination. I remember that game against Atlanta, man. I was rooting for the Cavs, but this wasn't enough. Darius Garland put up a stinker. Yeah.
Should have known. So does that bring it to me to start off number 6?
Yeah, it does.
All right. At number 6, I have Karl Anthony Towns.
Whoa.
No comment.
Whoa.
Number 6. Interesting.
Whoa, damn. Wait, strictly based off last year?
It's based off a few things. I know. So the past few years, he's played a lot less games, and you can say what you want about that, because it's been through a variety of factors, whether it's like pandemic-related things or like last year was more of a freak injury. But he has missed a fair amount of time the past few years. In this new system in Minnesota, it's kind of weird to find his exact fit, I think, and that also is not helped by the fact that the three of Ant, Gobert, and Cat have not got to play a ton of games together. But it even got to the point where a lot of people were considering trading him off the team. And I think his overall fit on a roster, especially ranking him as a power forward, is just kind of strange. Because looking at him as a power forward, he already wasn't a great defender as a center, because he's not like this great paint defender. But then when you put him at the 4, I think he's really out of place on the defensive side of the ball. He is a great offensive talent when it comes to especially shooting, but I think his game just has a lot of weaknesses, whether it be that defense, whether it be the awkwardness at the power forward position because he's been forced to play out of position, and also the fact that like he is once again another playoff dropper on this list. And I don't know
That's
if
an
the guys
old
above him
narrative.
have that same issue. He's never played good in the playoffs.
That's simply not true. That's
He's
just
never
simply
played-
not true. Last year he played well in the playoffs, and the year prior to that he played better than he did against Houston. Last year he played well. He had a couple of bad games, but to say that he's a playoff dropper, he dropped like 38 in a playoff game.
A couple of bad games in like a 5-game series, bro. A couple is like a significant portion.
Okay, maybe it was like I think he had one actual bad game, but he had like 38 in one game, 30 in another, and he had like 25 in the others. Like that's just what Karl Anthony Towns was throughout throughout his past. You know, excluding the playoffs, obviously, because he did have the Houston series where he was bad in his first playoff appearance. But it's just kind of how Cat has always played. Last year, that's how he played in the playoffs, and because Cat is Cat, and there's the one game where he fouled out early. The narrative is that he was a playoff dropper last year.
It's also just like the fact that he's a big, like I can appreciate his skill set and how unique it is and what it brings to the table. But I think as a whole, for what I'm looking for in somebody who's playing a big position, I think that the guys above him all give me that a little bit better. Like, sure, his scoring, especially in the perimeter, is cool and being like the best shooting center ever, but he's not even ranked on a center list, is like cool. And being that level of a floor spacer is cool. But like when you're a big, it just doesn't make up for those defensive deficiencies for me. And it's just so weird that he's playing out of position. Like it makes his fit on the team kind of strange. And if he can make it work this season and he kind of bounces back, that's great. That's wonderful. And he can definitely move up the list because I know he's that level of talent. But like the production I've seen over the past couple of years is not to the standard I think that the 5 guys above him are at right now. Because the 5 guys I have above him either have the accolades like or just like the recent just crazy showings to put him above Cat for me.
Wow. Cat at 6. That's something.
That's a list.
But my number 6, I finally get to talk about my glorious king, Julius Randle. Oh man,
what did I say, Jelson? Before you go,
You're
what did
right.
I say?
You're right.
Exactly.
6th best power forward in the NBA, Julius Randle. I'm gonna get my shit off because y'all tried to cook me when I said it last time. Julius Randle
6th best power forward in the NBL, maybe.
Julius Randle is one of the most unique players at the power forward position. Not many players can do what he does at that position except the player above him. Does it just slightly better.
JJ, I want to add this. Your tweet said that nobody does what Julius Randle does at the power position. That's why I cooked you. Not if you want to say there's not many, that's a loose term. Then I can kind of.
Come on, you know I gotta gas up. You know I gotta gas up my king on Twitter. Come on, bro.
Jay just had that moment like a My Career cutscene where it's like you have 5 seconds to choose which one you want to say, and he's like, "Oh, how am I going to respond to this?"
But Julius Randle is indeed the 6th best power forward in the league right now, bro. He can stretch the floor. He can play make. Has years where he was the first option and did a decent job at being the primary playmaker on the team. He's not the best defender, but he definitely has his moments. I think he gets a bad rap for his playoff drops. I'll admit he isn't good in the playoffs, but this year he was injured, and a lot of people don't take that into account that he was injured. He was injured at the end of the season, tried to come back in the playoffs, re-aggravated that same ankle, and he was out ultimately, but he didn't look like the all-NBA player that we saw for the entire season. Julius Randle, he's one of the most skilled players at the power forward position, like I said on Twitter. But the guy above him is indeed just a bit better at that position. But yeah, I got Julius Randle at 6, bro.
You know, Jay, I think I'd be a lot like happier with your list, like on a personal level. If you
no, Justin, your list is dog shit. You literally have Paolo on it. You literally have Paolo on it.
So does Garrett. And I want to say.
That 8 is nasty too. So.
I want to just say this. I think literally if you just flip-flop Julius Randle and Jaren Jackson Jr., it might have just like
Let me give a little explanation for that because Jaren Jackson Jr., like I said, he has never been the 2 or 1 option until we saw him be a 2 option in the playoffs where he looked really good. But I'm taking Julius Randle because we've seen his resume at him being the main option, and he's had success being the main option with not that good of a cast around him. If I see Jaren Jackson Jr. be the number 1 option with a mediocre cast around him, cool, and he excels at that, cool. All right, I could give him the nod, but not just yet. I've seen some really good basketball out of Julius Randle, and you guys are gonna highlight his bad moments. All right, cool. Yeah, it's really bad when he's bad, but when he's good, it looks really fucking good. Like I said 2 years ago, I don't know if you guys were on the if this was on the pod or not, but there was a game against the Lakers where LeBron was out. It was basically Anthony Davis against Julius Randle, and they literally looked like they were on the same tier, bro. They were trading buckets. It was incredible, and those moments we see moments from Julius Randle like that a lot throughout the year, but unfortunately, people highlight the bad plays because they're the biggest, they're the ugliest, you know. But yeah, that's my 6, bro.
When you say like his highs, like when he looks good, he looks really good. I just feel like everybody on this list, because it's like the top players of the position, when they look good, they look really good. So when Julius Randle has a lot, and when I feel like Julius Randle has a lot more of those bad days and those bad games than a lot of the other players on the list.
Gabe, you know what? I always bring this point up, and 90% of the time I'm trolling, but this is the only time that I feel like I'm being serious about this. Julius Randle has absolutely insane highs at times. I mean, he's one of the only players that got the double bang. But what I will say is that
so nasty.
It is nasty. But Taurean Prince, okay, went shot for shot.
Stop the propaganda.
No. But the point here is Julius Randle has the absolute offensive efficiency at times when he's on. But on the defensive side, he's letting up the bucket right back to Taurean Prince. And this is not just a Taurean Prince thing. He does this for everybody he guards. That's the problem.
I mean, that's fair. Listen, Julius Randle isn't a lockdown defender. No, I would say Julius Randle isn't locked in on defense 100% of the time, all 48 minutes of the game. But he does have his moments when he can lock in. But unfortunately, he just doesn't do that all the time, and that is a character flaw, player flaw. He does tend to take a lot of difficult shots. That is another player flaw. You could knock him for it. I mean, that's cool, but I think you guys I don't think you guys are appreciating Julius Randle for what he does positively on the basketball court all the time.
But he doesn't do it all the time. That's
all right. Let's move on, Garrett. Let's get your 6.
So my number 6, this is where I have Jaren Jackson Jr. And the thing is, I know you kind of brought up, like, at least with Karl Anthony Towns, Gabe, about like how in the playoffs, he doesn't quite have the best resume. I wouldn't really say Jaren Jackson does either. I mean, like, think about like the last couple of years, they've been pretty good. Like, they've been the higher seed in 3 of the 4 matchups he's been in the playoffs in his career. But on defensively, he's had spurts and he's looked pretty good for the most part, respectable. Maybe like a notch down from what he did in the regular season most of those years, but still like respectable. On the offensive end, though, you could argue that this guy almost looks like Andrea Bargnani in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So it's just he's playing soft, foul trouble, doesn't rebound, doesn't shoot efficiently whatsoever. So I'm just looking at it from that perspective, and it's like, you could say, oh, maybe he's above Karl Anthony Towns, but at least with Karl Anthony Towns, it's like I've had at least a playoff series where he shot well from 3, and I just feel like he has a more versatile offensive scoring set than someone like Jaren Jackson Jr. that I'm gonna give Cat like a slight nod over him, but at least for Jaren Jackson Jr., I'm gonna need to see, like Jay said, I'm gonna need to see him take a step up at least for the first 25 games this year, because like everyone's gonna have to chip in. You know, it's like I think Desmond Bain is gonna be the one option, but he's kind of got to be number 2, and then like Smart's got to pick up, and Rose and Kennard, and everyone needs to like just pick up from the absence of Steven Adams too. So I'm gonna put him number 6, and I mean, hopefully next year in the playoffs, like, it can look a little bit better from him. It hasn't really felt like he's ever like shut down a big either. He's given him some struggles, like maybe for individual games, but he didn't shut down AD this year. He didn't even really shut down Cat the year before. He had a few games where he struggled. Most of that was him being in foul trouble, I will say, but it's not like he really shut him down. And even the same thing goes for Rudy Gobert in 2021. So I'm gonna just put him number 6.
Fake defensive player of the year? Fake?
They're
Definitely
faking his
not
stats.
fake. No, not fake.
I'm not
fake.
saying it's fake, but I think he does have some slight dive on defense in the playoffs. Offensively, he's got to figure it out. That's the biggest thing, though.
Facts. I agree.
Yeah, offensively, he do got to figure it out. And offensively is why he's at number 6 for me. Fantastic defensive player. I don't have to talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. in the defensive side of the ball. We know what he is. I will say that it was very surprising the stark difference between Jaren Jackson Jr. and Anthony Davis, how they both played in the defense in the playoffs, only because their teams matched up against each other. So we have to compare 1-to-1. Anthony Davis, it seemed like he reached another level, and Jaren Jackson Jr., while he wasn't bad defensively, he definitely it almost looked like the moment was a little bit too bright for him, and he sort of played to what we knew he could do, but he didn't do anything that was like, oh yeah, this is the defensive player of the year. You know what I'm saying? So that defensive impact I would have liked more of in the playoffs. That being said, he was still great defensively in the playoffs. It was just like you comparing him directly to Anthony Davis because they're playing up against each other. Like Anthony Davis had his way, you know what I'm saying? But this isn't about Anthony Davis. He'll be on our center list. Jaren Jackson Jr., I got to see it offensively, man. One of the things that I've actually liked offensively, even though I really don't like his jump shot, he leans into every three-pointer that he takes, and I hate it. But
I hate it.
they go in, yeah, I hate that shit. It looks so awkward, but they go in at a pretty decent clip. I think he shoots like 36% from 3, which is more than passable for a power forward. I think league average is like 35, so he's shooting above league average. Another thing, rebounding. Jaren Jackson Jr. is 6'11". He averaged 6.8 rebounds a game. That's simply not good enough. I don't care that they have Steven Adams, and Steven Adams is grabbing, you know what I'm saying, making most of the boards, grabbing most of the boards. And I don't care that he plays the power forward position, and you know what I'm saying, they run the twin towers, not even twin towers, but like they run the two big lineup. Nah, 6.8 boards for somebody that's 6'11" is damn near unacceptable. I'm sorry, you got to up that to like at least 8.5, 9. You know what I'm saying? Especially in this the FIBA didn't take into account my rankings, but look at the FIBA. That motherfucker averaged like what? 3 boards a game in the FIBA World Cup.
I think he averaged literally like 0.7 rebounds a game or something.
I think he had one. Didn't he have only like one rebound?
He had one rebound in like 3
game?
games or something.
Yeah, that was like what the fuck was that? And again, that didn't influence my rankings at all. But like, it just goes to show, yeah, rebounding, you're gonna need to work on that, bro. And that's it's surprising because rebounding is like the final part of defense. You can get 6 blocks in a row. If they rebound, you're giving them another chance to score. Yep. And you give an NBA team 6-7 chances to score, more than likely they're gonna score. We see sometimes NBA teams just can't buy a bucket, and you're gonna get bailed out every now and then, but you can't be allowing boards like that. It's the final portion of defense, and one that Jaren Jackson Jr. has not unlocked. With all that being said, he's still a serviceable offensive player. With what they getting from him, it's not like they're dying for him to score more points, because they really don't need him to score as much. He's a third option for a reason. They got John Morant, they got Desmond Bane. But the offensive side of the ball and his rebounding lack of is why he can't be no higher than 6 on this list for me, which is still great because look at the caliber of defensive player that Jaren Jackson Jr. is. He's a top 5 defensive player in the league, and I don't think that's a hot take. So yeah, Jaren Jackson Jr., he's at number 6 for me.
I'm glad you brought up his
rebounding.
Let me add some old head talk real quick for just 15 seconds. But when you talked about just the rebounding aspect too, it's like I feel like that's what made players like Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain so great, because like when you think about Will, it's like he would snatch the ball out of midair on the blocks, and Bill Russell, he was so skilled at blocking the shot toward his teammates. So like someone like Jaren Jackson Jr., if you're not gonna get rebounds, at least you got to do that. You know what I mean? So.
I agree. But number 6 on my list is Timberwolves legend Larry Markkinen. I'm just gonna
Alright,
keep
guy.
it pushing. I'm gonna keep pushing. We've already said a lot about Larry Markkinen. Great player. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep it pushing because we kind of took a long time on them. Julius Randle.
You got Cat top 5?
So
Yeah.
we are going to
he
move
does.
on.
One that don't, bro.
We're going to move on to number 5 in the top 5 time. And honestly, the top 5 might be a little bit easier than the bottom 5s. So, start off with Jay, number 5.
I actually got Karl-Anthony Towns top 5 as well. Yeah, Towns is my number 5, bro. I think Gabe said a lot of the things that I was thinking when it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns. Phenomenal player. When he first came into the league, a lot of GMs, crazy GMs, were like, "Oh, who would you rather start your franchise with? Karl-Anthony Towns, LeBron James, Anthony Davis." I'm taking
That shit
Karl-Anthony
was all
Towns.
after me when they were saying that too. I
Insane.
never bought into that.
Insane.
No, okay, he was like that though. Like he was
Yeah,
like
but I
that.
was
No,
I was
no,
never buying into starting my
we-
franchise with him over some of the other guys.
Yeah, I
that
guess
was
that
just
makes
we
Yeah.
thought he was gonna be like that, but unfortunately he didn't turn out to be that guy. Is it because that he hasn't really developed his really developed his game to be like an all-around player? Maybe add a little, be a stronger rebounder, add a little facilitating in there. I do want to see him grow in the defensive end. We have yet to see that, but when it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns, unfortunately, he did get injured this year. I thought he ended the season kind of strong when it comes to his shooting ability, but we just didn't see that translate to the postseason. Karl-Anthony Towns, he's such a talented player, and I do want to give him credit when it comes to his leadership. He has fully bought into giving the keys to the franchise to Anthony Edwards. He said multiple times that I'm here to help Ann out, bro. I'm here to guide Ann to grow into, a fantastic player, and that gives I credit him for his leadership aspect of him, but like just being a person. But Karl-Anthony Towns still has a lot of growing to do, although he's been in the league for what it seems quite a while. But that doesn't change the fact that he is still a top 5 power forward, newly power forward in the league right now.
Yeah, like I said, I agree. This is why I have Towns at 5, and he can stretch the floor like no other from 3-point range. But I just need to see a little bit more in the playoffs, and I need to see a little bit more consistency with Towns too. Sometimes I feel like he gets in the habit of maybe going to social media or kind of just like maybe talking a little bit too much, and then it feels like every time he says something like he talks too much, it feels like it always goes the other way for him. Unfortunately, it's like I either want to see it follow through where he's right, or it's like just not to talk at all and then just get the job done. You know what I mean? So I just need to see some steps taken from him this year. Even on the defensive end, I know as Jelson said, he's been better, but maybe even taking another step in that respect, his lateral quickness, if his lateral quickness is better. And I think honestly, if maybe he just was locked in 100% of the time, because sometimes it feels like it's an 85-90% of the time thing, you could probably make an argument that he is a top 3. But because of that, I think when we all recognize that, it's just not going to happen. You're shaking your head, Jay, but it's this is one of the best 3-point shooting bigs in the league. You know what I mean? And it's
you said top 3 though. There's a lot of talent at top 3.
I'm saying if he had improved lateral quickness, and because that's one of the biggest things I think he needs to work on, and then also if he just was locked in 100% of the time. Sometimes it feels like he kind of eases up. You saw him in the playoffs the one time laughing and stuff, giggling. They get blown out by 30 the next night. You know what I mean? Things like that. If he could just stop with those two things in particular, fix those 2 areas, he could be 3rd, I think, on this list. Would he on mine? Probably. I don't know if he would, but I think you can make an argument then. But for now, I got him 5.
I'm not mad at that. I do have him higher. So at number 5, we're going to talk about the Toronto Raptors for a second, because I got Pascal Siakam at my number 5. Now, again, listen, Cat, again, he was going to be on my center list, but I had to put him somewhere. So I put him, spoiler, I put him slightly above Siakam. The reason being is I feel like Siakam in his best situation, it's probably number 4 on this list, only because 1, 2, and 3 are solidified. I don't think we have to guess who 1, 2, and 3 are. But Siakam, man, it's just not been a very favorable situation for him in this past few years. Ever since Kawhi left, the Toronto Raptors have been 1 foot in the door with winning, as we see from like the bubble year. And then after that, they've been 1 foot out the door, which was what led them to being able to draft Scotty Barnes. And then they just have not been a good team. I think the best thing for Siakam right now would be well, he's not going to do this because he wants that contract extension from the Raptors. Get your money. I'm not mad at you. But the best thing for Siakam would be to start anew on a new team. I feel like we know what Siakam brings. He's a phenomenal number 2 option. He was a great number 2 option on that Raptors team when they won a chip. Defensively, he's probably not as good as most people would say, but he's like not a bad defender. I think he's still a positive defender, good to great sometimes. But with Siakam, man, it's just like this situation around him has been really bad. And it's kind of hard for me to justify putting him above some of these other guys, namely Karl Anthony Towns, because Karl Anthony Towns has that talent to where I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though his situation has been more favorable, but even though he still has to put it together, I would say. But Siakam, still a great player. I still think that in the right situation, he is an all-NBA caliber player. I think he's still a perennial all-star. It's just that he got to get off the fucking Raptors, man. He really, really got to get off the Raptors. And once he does, I think he's going to remind people that who he is. But Siakam's at number 5 for me.
Cat over him is nasty.
Well,
is it though?
It's really not. And I would say,
Of course she would say that.
Well, I mean, you agreed, so
I did agree.
Pascal Siakam is my number 5 here. In my opinion, here from 3 to 5, they're all really interchangeable. But Pascal Siakam.
Wait, hold on. You had Zion 8, right?
7.
7.
Yes.
Who the fuck do you have?
His top 3 is nasty.
3, 4, and 5 are interchangeable. I want to know that. I got my eye on you, Joseph.
Pascal Siakam is my number 5. I think strictly because of the fact that he's shown that he can be a winning player. He's won a championship. He's shown that he can be a good offensive player, even though that spin move is way overused, and I'm sick of looking at the spin move.
It's Beyblade.
Literally.
Brother thinks this is 2021, bro. You talking to me on cat about old.
The craziest thing is that he still does the spin move consistently, and the thing is,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's added in more moves since.
We talk about offensive bags,
the half spin, the quarter spin. I don't need to
like literally. We're talking about offensive bags, and I think personally, Pascal Siakam is one of those guys where he's just an effective, efficient player, even though his bag just isn't that deep. And I think Pascal Siakam, for me, lands at number 5 because he has improved year to year. His defense is fine, and he's shown that he can be a winning player. So Pascal Siakam is at number 5 until he gets off the Raptors.
Until he gets off the Raptors?
Until he gets off the Raptors. I don't really know if that's a fair statement to make, but I do think that Pascal Siakam is in a bad situation. But he's not my player here at number 5. So here, I think I have him the highest out of anybody. I have Jaren Jackson Jr. at number 5. And it might be a little high for some of you guys, but I do have a reason. And most of it is his ability as a needle mover for this Grizzlies team. And obviously that most specifically comes on defense. But when it comes to Jaren Jackson Jr., while you might not think of him as this like top offensive option, the impact that he does bring to the game makes this team so much better. Last year, without Jaren Jackson Jr., they were a middle-of-the-road defense when he missed the beginning of the season, and their record without him was 10-9 overall last year. With him on the court, they were 41-22. That is a much better team when he's there. Not only that, I believe they went from that middle-of-the-road defense to I think they finished top 3 as a defensive team last year. So their improvement not only as a team overall in the record department, but on that defensive side of the ball was completely transformed by his reintroduction into the lineup. Not only that, last year he finally made that jump to all-star status. And in some of those games that Ja Morant missed when he was dealing with suspensions throughout the season, Jaren Jackson Jr. showed really good offensive flashes and what he could do with the ball in his hands. Now, once he's able to do that more like consistently next season when John Morant misses the beginning of the season, I think we can see, were those flashes the real deal or were they a little bit too much? Now, in the playoffs, he did look pretty bad, but I do think that Cat, who I had him over, looked pretty bad there too. And a lot of the players I have him over, whether that be Cat, whether that be Lowry, who hasn't really been there as a top guy, whether that be Julius Randle, who also fell off in the playoffs, I think in a lot of the guys that I have him over, that issue is very much a through line. So I can't really use that to discredit him too much. But what he's done in the regular season for this team, I do think is of great impact. And honestly, it feels like this team gets worse as a team when Jaren is out versus when Ja's out. When Ja goes out, a lot of times this team keeps on chugging and they end up still being a really good team. So it almost feels like the biggest contributor to whether this team is winning games or not is often Jaren Jackson Jr.
You know what's crazy is
Agreed.
I'd argue that they sometimes even get better when Ja is out, but they never get better when Trey. Like, there's not even an argument with if Jaren Jackson Jr. is out, they're getting worse.
I feel like that's just because like he's such a dynamic player, and we also got to keep into account Steve-O and Brandon Clark missed some good amount of time last year as well. So a lot of the big like defensive assignments and responsibility was put on his shoulders. So
listen, I might be higher on him than you guys are, but that is my reason. I think it's a solid argument, even if you guys disagree. I can stand on that take.
All right.
I love the take.
Well, yeah, we are on the number 4. So our top 4 spots, Garrett, you will start us off.
So my number 4, I was thinking about maybe sliding number 3 last minute, but I don't think I can do that. This is where I have Spicy P, Pascal Siakam.
That's a nasty nickname. I hate that nickname.
You guys know I've been kind of high on him, ever since when we did like the 2016 redraft, and just kind of talking about how he doesn't get the credit he deserves. I mean, I think at least from a playmaking standpoint, you could argue, at least from everyone else I put on my list, like that he does that a little bit better. And weirdly enough, as much as people want to like say, oh, he can't really handle the ball like that, he still like plays a little bit funky because he kind of got into the game late. You could argue he puts the ball on the ground, like on the floor, better than probably everybody else I have on my list too so far. Not the 3 above him, but like at least the people I have on here so far. So
Definitely one of the motherfuckers above him.
Yeah. So I just feel like at least for him, he's a very versatile player. Like you said, Mo, like he definitely brings it more on the defensive end than a couple of these guys like later in the list. Even if he's not like a Jaren Jackson on that end or something like that. But I think at least for Pascal Siakam, he's proven that, yeah, he wasn't great in the bubble, but he's proven that he can be important in the playoffs to a degree that it's like I have a little bit more faith in him than maybe my Karl-Anthony Towns playoff faith or my Jaren Jackson Jr. playoff faith up until now. Now we'll have to see. Obviously, with Toronto, I don't expect him to make the playoffs this year. So that's why when you guys were saying like he needs to get out of Toronto, like I think that's probably a good idea, because seeing him on a playoff atmosphere and seeing what he can do again for another contender, especially if he can be the number 1 option, because he really only had that chance once, and it was in the season that got cut like 4.5 months in the middle of it and then restarted with only about 2 weeks before the playoffs. So that was a completely weird year, and I don't really hold it against too many players for playing bad just in that 1 year, especially if they played good like in other situations outside of that too. So I'm gonna go Pascal Siakam in number 4. I think you could definitely make an argument that he could be number 3, but you definitely can't make an argument that he's above the top 2.
At number 4, this is I think the highest anyone has had him up until this point. Give me Karl-Anthony Towns again. The only reason I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt over a Siakam is because he is more talented than a Siakam, as well as I don't want to hold the injury against him because he's not an injury-prone player. And what happened, it was last season, right? The injury, Justin.
Yeah.
That was like the weirdest shit because if I'm not mistaken, it was a hamstring. It was only supposed to take him out for a few weeks. Few weeks turned into the entire season, damn near. It was really weird. I didn't understand that. But like it's an injury, and injuries they suck. Karl Anthony Towns, though, it's crazy how just a few years ago we was like, yo, this Karl Anthony Towns guy, he's the Timberwolves' future, and he still potentially can be. Although with them bringing in Gobert, I don't know how much of that future he's still a part of, but it's just like to go from that to now, this is 100% Anthony Edwards' team with Karl Anthony Towns on it. You know what I'm saying? It's just is a strange happenings in the NBA. The NBA is a very strange league, and shit like that can happen. But Karl Anthony Towns, man, great offensive player. When he's on, sometimes it's like, bro, just stop trying to shoot so many threes. I know you can, but like work inside out more and like stop settling. But that's neither here nor there. I still think that Karl Anthony Towns is a top player in this league. Hopefully, well, I say hopefully, but I personally would like to see him stick it out with the Timberwolves. I think that adding Gobert was a mistake, and it's probably going to end up costing them Karl Anthony Towns. But I would like to see the combination of
Oh my God.
I would like to,
Are we doing this again,
I know.
bro?
I promise that was not intentional. That was not intentional.
I don't think any of them have been. That's the weirdest thing.
The duo of Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, I would like to see it, flourish and grow beyond what we've seen it, because we haven't seen either their true potential truly. But I don't think we're going to see that, and so maybe a change of scenery is what Karl Anthony Towns would need. But I don't know. So
Mo,
Karl Anthony Towns at 4 though.
I got a question for you. What makes Karl Anthony Towns exactly more talented than Pascal Siakam?
Dog, what?
Does that have to be said? Karl Anthony Towns is a better talent.
Is it better?
He's
He's
better offensively.
No. Details.
I was gonna give details on how he's better offensively. I was gonna say he's a better shooter. He's a better scorer in general. He's better offensively, as an offensive engine for your team. He's a better number one option. I can keep going. I'm not going to, though, for the sake of time. But
you said the same shit in 5 different words. All right.
Bro,
He's a 3
know
level.
what? You know what?
Hey, Mo, let me cook.
He's kind of cooking, man.
No, let me cook Mo. I have Cat here at number 4. He's a better offensive player than Pascal Siakam. He's a 3-level scorer, can hit from the mid-range, the 3-point line, and he's one of the best not only post scorers but post playmakers in the league. And he's a underrated playmaker as it is. That's just how he is. He's a all-around offensive talent at every single level of offense. His defense is what is left to be desired. His interior defense has gotten better to the point where he's just about a league average defender. His perimeter defense is, as a biased Timberwolves fan, is terrible, and that needs to improve. But what I will say is that Karl Anthony Towns, the fact is that he has the potential on a game-to-day night more than likely to change the way that a game goes more likely than a Pascal Siakam. And I firmly believe that. And honestly, I think that him really getting firmly acclimated into the role with him and Rudy and Anthony Edwards, I think that's only going to improve his rankings here. Personally, I'm not going to keep going, as I said, as Mo said, with time, but the offense and the versatility he has offense on every single side or every single portion of offense is better than a Pascal Siakam.
No, the fuck it's not. No,
I think he has more potential to take over a game, but I don't know if I would count on him taking over a game more often.
I completely disagree, and I'll get into Siakam here because I have him at 4 as well. But when you say the ability to influence the outcome of a game, Cat for his entire career as a number 1 guy, those teams were always shit. Those teams are always dog shit.
No. We cannot use that.
He's never been.
He had Jake Layman and Travion Graham starting one season as his starting players. That team was
how many minutes you gonna play today?
Terrible.
Hey, can I have my take?
No.
All right. So, literally, this is a long time ago now, even, but when they were actually a solid roster, bro, when Jimmy Butler was on that team, he got injured for a month and a half, and bro, they lost every single game. Karl Anthony Towns was not built to be that number 1 guy that really
that team was
could put the team on his back. Even like
That team
literally
was terrible. The 3 seed.
That dude, no.
after
What I'm saying is
after that season,
Jimmy
bro,
Butler.
bro.
Okay, go ahead.
Even later on, like this team led by Cat has just never been good. They didn't start becoming relevant until it was Anthony Edwards that came up as an up-and-coming superstar, and that's what took them to the next level. Now, granted, when Pascal was a number one guy, it was off the heels of a successful run. But even Pascal as a number one guy in the 2019-2020 season, that team was really good, and Pascal Siakam was the number one guy. I know that Pascal Siakam can be the number two option on a championship team, and he's only gotten better since then. I know Pascal Siakam can be the number one option on a very good team. Karl-Anthony Towns has been the number one option on only dog shit teams, and he's been the number two option on some first round outs. What he's proven throughout his career is not to the level of what Pascal Siakam's done. The bigger you are on the court, the more important defense becomes. Defense is a lot less important for a point guard than it is for a power forward or a center. And Pascal Siakam absolutely clears him on defense. Pascal Siakam is a better playmaker, even if Cat
No,
is
he's
good.
not. That is no,
Yes, he is. Yes,
he's
he
not.
is.
No,
Yes,
he
he
is
is.
not. No, he is
though.
not.
Even
I
if
have
Cat
no-
is
I have no
underrated,
opinion.
even if Cat is underrated for his position, and honestly, playmaking between these two guys isn't even the biggest sway factor. But like, even if he's solid for his position, like
Play the same position.
Pascal, but they really don't, because Cat is a center that we put on this list, whereas like Pascal is meant to play this position. So as a bit of a smaller guy, as a guy who for his whole career has been a little bit more of an initiator, as a guy who honestly quite often brings the ball up the court, he's just better at playing that role, at creating for others. He just does that more. And even if the offensive bag isn't the cleanest, it's still proven to be very effective time after time after time. He had the one down season when he became a number one guy, but since then he's really rectified a lot of those mistakes. And so the offensive game, like, Cat has a better skill set and definitely a more aesthetically appealing skill set. But as far as what the production is, the production isn't that far off. And I'd say especially now with the presence of Anthony Edwards, Pascal does that with more defensive attention directed toward him. And at the same time, Pascal has been a pretty consistent playoff performer for the most part throughout his career. Whereas Cat, even when you said like, oh, last season he was actually pretty good, he was still averaging an incredibly inefficient 18 as a big man.
What I would say,
it's just
my
what I get out of Pascal Siakam, I like a lot more than Cat, and I think that Pascal is much more of a needle mover and has more to show for what he provides.
So I think for me, that's why I kind of had this 3 through 5 is kind of interchangeable. I thought Pascal Siakam, this is mostly Pascal and Cat, that really what made it interchangeable was I think those two players are so very close in what they bring to a basketball team that it was kind of one or the other, and I had to put one above the other, right? And for me, I just there is you say that you brought up aesthetic, how Cat is more aesthetically offensive player, but there's a reason for that. Cat is able to score at all three levels. Pascal has not been able to do that as effectively, but there's also something to add, like you said, with Pascal being a better defender and Pascal having some postseason success, even though he got kind of carried by Kawhi, and nobody's going to argue that.
Yeah,
but
we're not co-signing that. No, he didn't.
Siakam, who dropped 40 in the finals.
Okay, maybe not carried, but having Kawhi.
When did he drop 40? I remember he dropped the 30-point game. I don't remember 40 though.
He dropped 40. It was like game 1 or 2 of the finals. It was
game one. He dropped.
It was game 1.
I thought he dropped 30.
It might have been like a high 30, but I know he cooked in that game.
The point is,
let me
not so much carried, but the fact is Pascal is not making the finals like that, and he is not like a number one option. I would say neither of these players are really a number one option on a championship winning team, and I don't like. And I'd even like to argue that I think that Cat on the right situation could be the number 2 player on a championship winning team. At this point, I don't think so, or I don't think this is the team that he could do that on with this Timberwolves team. But I think that the versatility on offense, from what I've seen, is really what puts him above Pascal. But it really is just like flipping a coin, in my opinion.
He dropped 32, yeah.
Yeah, he dropped
32. 32 more than Cat, but
It felt like 40. It felt like 40, bro.
It did feel like 40. Wasn't he was the leading scorer for the Raptors? This is not about Siakam, so let's continue.
Oh, it actually is about Siakam.
It actually is my fault.
I got that boy Spicy P at 4, and Justin, I love the switch up. You know what I'm saying? I said what makes Karl-Anthony Towns a more talented player than Spicy P, and I ain't gonna lie, you folded. I'm not gonna cap you folded.
Wait, what? I literally said this literally before we even started our list. That number 3
second point was he's an underrated playmaker. You didn't say he's a better playmaker or anything. You said he's underrated.
That was my question. And
no. Okay, sorry. There was a lot. In my opinion, Karl-Anthony Towns is a better playmaker than like a Pascal Siakam. But as I said, it's close. I think it really, and I said this before we even started the list. It really is a coin flip, in my opinion, between 3 and 5, like that 3 and 5 range.
And that's fair, my friend. That's fair, but when it comes to actually being the better player, I do believe Pascal Siakam is the better player. He's the better shot creator when it comes to pulling the ball on the floor and setting up his teammates. He's a better player in terms of the ability to go out there and actually get his own shot and get it execute getting his own shot at an efficient rate. When it comes to the playoffs, Karl-Anthony Towns only had one playoff run that actually looked good, and I'll give him his credit because he did shoot 40 plus from 3 that year. He put up 2 blocks, but he also averaged damn near 5 turnovers last year in the playoffs, and that has to be pointed out because Pascal Siakam never averaged more than 3 turnovers, and turnovers is a big thing. Pascal Siakam has throughout his career has improved every single year, and unfortunately he's stuck on the Toronto Raptors, which seems like they may finally be getting him some actual help with the Damian Lillard may be finally heading to Toronto, but hey, who knows, because Masai Ujiri is incredibly greedy and he's going to try and fleece the Portland Trail Blazers for everything they got. But yeah, I just think Pascal Siakam is the 4th best talented power forward in the entire league. I mean, like I said, he's better than Julius Randle. I think they're very similar players, but Pascal Siakam is a much sharper, higher IQ, and just a cleaner player all around. And when it comes to this top 3, that's when the superstars kick in. Pascal Siakam is like, I'm not gonna call him a superstar by any means, but he is an all NBA type talent, and he just right there. But I don't know, Justin. I personally think he's just a better all around player when it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns.
Yeah. All right. So with that, that's definitely a lot of talk. But now we're in our top 3, and I think 4 of us have the same guys in the top 3. Except I don't know who Jelson has it here.
Yeah,
I think I do.
Who the fuck is your number 3, bro? Because unless you got somebody that we didn't have on this list, I don't.
Yeah, Steph Curry is my number 3.
Yeah, if it's like Anthony Davis or something, then we're just gonna tell
Harrison Barnes.
No, I did not. Yeah, Harrison Barnes. No. What it is Harrison Barnes is my number 1. Everybody just kind of slid down.
For sure. My fault, Jay. It wasn't even you. It was him.
Yeah.
But I'm starting off number 3 if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So I think that this is probably going to be the consensus number 3 pick besides Jelson because he had him at number 7. Zion Williamson, number 3. I can't justify putting him over number 1 and number 2. He's simply not better than them, but he's better than everybody else on this list for sure. Bro, get fucking healthy and just be on the court. All you need to do is be on the court. That's all you need to do. So all he needs to do is be on the court because what we've seen from him, bro, I'm not gonna do this with Zion, man. We know what we saw from Zion. We know what Zion got to do. We know that he needs to stay on the court. Just fucking make it happen, please, bro. The New Orleans food is not that good. It probably is, but it's not that good, bro. Put the food down. Put the food down. Stop talking to the
No, keep talking to him. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Keep talking to him.
No, don't talk. Don't keep talking to him.
He's a
He's a father. He is a father. All right. So don't keep talking to them, because they ain't doing shit but fucking up and you know what I'm saying, distracting you from your career, bro. You know what time it is. I want to see him on the court. That's it. And I don't got shit else to say about Zion. We know how good he is, and I ain't gonna harp on that. Just be on the court, please. Please be on the court.
I mean,
that's it.
That's really why I had Zion so low. I mean, if he's playing, he's up here, no question.
Justin, who's at 3 for you, bro?
Number
really
3. Number 3 for me is Jaren Jackson Jr.
I knew it.
Let's
I knew it.
go.
I completely forgot that
let's
you just
go.
did not have Jaren Jackson
Let's
listed
go,
yet.
bro.
You're insane.
Nah, I'm with it.
Really?
I'm with it. It's not my
I'm
take,
not.
but I'm with it.
Really?
Jaren Jackson Jr. Once again, the 3 through 5 is really a coin flip. I just kind of put them in an order that I felt kind of was comfortable with. But, and that's why I respect Gabe having him at number 5, because I feel like that's pretty accurate too. Jaren Jackson Jr. at 3, to me, he plays his role to perfection. I have the problems with his rebounding and stuff like that, which is fine, but they have Steven Adams to clean up his mistakes on the rebounding sense. He is an absolute elite defender where he does just enough on offense to make this team tick and make it a successful team. And in my opinion, I think this team in future years to come will consistently be a contender in the West. And I think it's going to be a large part, if not complete part, to Jaren Jackson Jr. as a player and what he brings to a basketball court. And that is pretty much everything you need out of a big man.
No, wait, no, Justin. All right, hold on. You got him at 3, right? You gave him his flowers and I'm saying give him his credit, but I need to know why he is at 3. What makes him the 3rd best power forward in the league, bro?
What makes him 3rd best power forward in the league, as we talked about earlier, is that defense does matter. The bigger you get, the more defense impacts the game. On top of that, he has been on multiple teams that have been high seeds, winning teams, and on top of all of that, I think part of it is he knows who he is. He doesn't try to do too much. And I can respect that out of a player, especially on offense. He doesn't try to be this superstar level offensive player where he's shot chucking like a Julius Randle. But what he does is he does just enough. He does what the team needs him to do. And he's a superstar defender. And that's why I have him at number 3.
You know how much Jelson loves his D.
That's crazy. Oh my goodness.
Sorry,
but Justin, bro, there's no way you can have Jaren Jackson Jr. number 3 stating that defense is the most important thing. I mean, it is when you're a big man. But how can you have Jaren Jackson Jr. number 3, then say it's a coin flip between Cat and Siakam and have Siakam underneath Cat? That just doesn't make sense.
Because I don't view the Siakam and Cat defensive difference quite as big as most probably would. I agree that Siakam is a better defender than Cat, but what Cat brings in terms of post defense is better than a lot of people think. And I think the power forward position is just really weird for Cat, and that's why I agree with Gabe in that sense that it's like, I don't know what to do with Cat, because I know that if he's a center, he can be probably, at this point in his career, a slightly above average defender in the paint. But I don't know where to put him at a power forward position because he has shown flashes of being a really solid perimeter defender, but the majority of the time he's below average on the perimeter, and I don't know really where to put it. And then the offense is really where I had it, where it's like the difference in my book was big enough to slightly give him the edge, but then once again a coin flip. So.
I don't know. That's a crazy coin flip to me, bro.
I guess.
I love it, bro, because I'm a notorious Jaren fan, but I had the balls to put him that high because the guys like above him, I do feel like we're more like stars and like whereas like Jaren, like he does play, like you said, he plays his role to perfection, but I don't know. It is an interesting comparison because while like we're so like prone to thinking like offense is greater than defense, in the grand scheme it probably is, but honestly, and what was kind of a lot of my point is what he's asked to do individually for that Memphis defense is a pretty big task, as seen through how much better their defense got with his presence. So like, I'm not gonna say I hate it, but I think he is probably less dynamic than some of the other guys, and the holes in his game are definitely more glaring than holes in Pascal's game. like you said again, Cat's kind of weird, but obviously his holes are kind of there. I'll move on to my number 3 though. I don't really have a lot new to say because Mo kind of said it. Here's Zion. I will say this is the last year he gets this benefit of the doubt. If we don't see a healthy Zion this year, he will start dropping because at that point I just think the production is never coming. I try to take more of a cautious approach, kind of like an Embiid, because Embiid took a couple years to really get going. I think he was drafted in 2014 and his first full season was like 17-18. So there is time that was taken there. But if you get past this year and he still is not even like playing playoff basketball, then it's going to be time to really like stop even caring about him as a future piece. But when he's there, he's a great player, very efficient 27. I don't think he disrupts the flow of what their offense is. And they were literally playing to a 1 seed level when he was there. Not saying they would have finished as the 1 seed, but they were playing as one of the premier teams in the Western Conference when he was on that roster.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. That Jaren Jackson shit fucking got me fucked up. Having him at number 3 is insane. I mean, not
Why?
trying to
Wait,
diminish.
why?
Let me
Because
get my.
no. I just wanted to add.
I got you.
Zion would be here if just health. That's what I would say.
Nah, yeah, and that's fine, but not trying to diminish anything Jaren Jackson Jr. has done. But I mean, he's kind of a role player. He's a glorified role player, bro. He's not a 1 or 2 option. I can't put a third option as a.
He does shit.
No. But why does it? We only use the 1, 2, and 3 option on offense. He's the 1 option on defense. Not even a one kind of a 1.
I cannot wait to see where this guy ranks Rudy Gobert, man.
Option.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Defense is incredibly important. I understand that, but we're talking about the 3 best power forwards in the entire league, bro. The 3 best power. They got to do it on both ends. I'm not taking Jaren Jackson Jr. third in terms of power forwards, bro. That just don't sit right with me.
Well, listen, Jay, to shoot him a little bit of bail. The only power forward in my top 3 that does it on both ends is number 1. We all know who number 1 is. So,
I mean, I do it at both ends at like some sort of comparable level. Not like good defense and kind of
Zion absolutely does not do it on the defensive end like at all.
I don't think Zion's like a lockdown defender. I mean, he also hasn't had
certainly not.
Or like. I mean,
he's basically only good if he's like already like in front of his defender and it's like close enough to the basket. You know what I mean? Like that's if you're asking him to move his feet, good luck. Like that ship has sailed.
If
he does. If you want like an idea, just look at Jelson move his feet on defense, and that's
crazy.
Literally, it's the truth though.
I feel like if you give Zion a full season to like really like lock into the defensive scheme that the New Orleans wants to implement, and like feel comfortable like having a full season just guarding other NBA players that are comparable to his talent, then he's gonna get better and better.
Give him time, but like, will he take advantage of that? Because it's like, bro, it's been 4 years. He's put together, if you really count the 1 year, he's put together 1 healthy season and really went to even qualify for the new CBA awards. So it's like, will he take advantage of that? He still really hasn't developed a jump shot like that. I mean, he's not taken nearly as much as he should at nearly as an efficient rate.
Bro, I heard you say Willie, and I thought you just said Willie, like out of nowhere, just Willie. I'm like, what is he saying?
All right, bro. I think. I think maybe I should. Should I give my number 3?
Wait, no, I didn't give mine yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I got obviously Zion. I think Zion. Well, Zion has made it clear that he is going to take this. Zion has made it clear that he's going to take this season the most serious that he's ever been in his career. New Orleans reporters has said that they've seen Zion in the gym in New Orleans specifically the most since he's been drafted, and I think that is huge. Like Mo had said, that he's now a dad, so that's a lot more responsibility on him, and I think the Mariah Mills situation just gave him a bit of embarrassment that I think he is, even though I said like keep like messing with him with it, I was just trolling. I think he's going to take messing or like outside off the court things a lot more serious. I don't think he's going to dabble in that. as much as he has in the past, and I really think he's going to lock in because he's heard all the things that the media has been saying about him. Oh, he doesn't care about basketball. He doesn't want to be on New Orleans. He's fat. He like Joseph said, he's playing the Kawhi. He just sitting out games. I think he's going to really attack this season like no other, and we're going to see a different version of Zion. But I think that's projecting. That's my projection from last season when he was healthy. The New Orleans Pelicans were #1 seed, and he looked like a top 3 MVP candidate. Well, let's make that clear, bro. He looked absolutely dominant, going up against some of the best teams in the league. No matter who was on the other side of the court, Zion was running through them, and you could not stop Zion Williamson whatsoever. And that's why I got Zion Williamson top 3. And like Justin said, if healthy, he is the third best power forward in the entire league, and he could be #1 in the next few years. Shit, by the end of the season.
Bro, he wasn't only running through players.
Actions speak louder than words. I'll believe it when I see it. But that being said, though, I also have Zion at #3. I just feel like he's kind of in his own tier here, and I was tempted a little bit to put Siakam above him just because of like his durability in the last few years. But I'm a little bit with Gabe, where it's like it's kind of the last time he gets the benefit of the doubt before he will start to see it slide. So I'll just leave it at that. You guys kind of hit on everything else with Zion, but I got him #3.
So that does bring us to the top 2, right?
Yep.
So this has been a long list. I'm not going to lie. So does anybody not have KD at 2?
I have the Durantula at 2.
I got him at 2.
I have KD at 2.
Okay, so everybody has KD at 2, and everybody has Giannis at 1.
No, I have Patrick Williams at 1, actually.
So
Harrison
I
Barnes
think,
at 1.
Papa.
I had Bobby Portis.
So I think this was a very consensus top 2. So I don't even want to talk about that too much because at that point, what are we even talking about? We all 5, and pretty much the wider community as a whole know that those 2 guys are the real like superstar, like top 10 level players that are in this discussion. And Giannis is more of a top 5 level player, where KD is more of a 6 through 10. So I think that's pretty set in stone. But while that might be an anticlimactic end, I do think we got a lot of good debates out of this. And that is the top 10 power forwards according to Key of Threes. So
Sorry they put Paolo on this list. I apologize, guys.
Yeah, there was kind of
Sorry,
some
they put
crazy
Randall on the list.
There was kind of some crazy takes on here, but we're gonna move on to our next topic in hour 46, and we'll get one more topic in for you guys so the whole stream is not just this exact same, just the rankings. But our next topic, I called it Rep Your Squad, but basically what it's going to be is I'm going to give the panel 2 different teams. And of these 2 different teams, you guys are going to discuss which one you think is better. Some of these might be more obvious than others. I guess we'll see. I thought they were all pretty good comparisons, and I think they all can have an argument for both sides. But I want to see what you guys think. So for this, it is going to be more of like an open floor thing. We don't got to go down the line with it. I want this to be a little bit more open discussion. But to start off, and once again, this can't be any criteria. You can say this team's more built for the playoffs. This team's going to be way better in the regular season. This team's more likely to win a championship. Whatever your criteria is of who is better, this is a little bit more subjective. So let me know who you think. The first I'm going to give you guys is which team is going to be better next season, the Suns or the Bucks?
I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
Give me the Bucks.
And it's tough because like everyone's talking about how old their team is because they do have the oldest squad in the league, but it's been a little tough because ever since they've won the championship, they've been dealing with injuries. As much as people want to say when Giannis did come back against the Heat, he still was injured. You know what I mean? I've seen the Suns flame out, no excuse, back-to-back postseasons in an elimination game, and it was ugly.
That was a bar.
Yeah. So the thing is too, it's like with the Bucks, like you're also talking about 2 teams that the last time they made their deepest run, I mean, who got the better end of the stick? So I know the Bucks are proven enough that they can get there, they can get back for sure, even if they are kind of older. Drew Holiday just arguably had a career year. Chris Middleton, if he's just healthy, and he's playing even remotely close to what he was playing before the injury, I think he can get back to that level. He mainly has to just be a catch and shoot guy, kind of play a little bit in the pick and roll game with Giannis. And I think Brook Lopez is coming off a great year too. If they can kind of duplicate that a little bit from Holiday and Lopez, get Middleton in there playing the way he was pre-injury, and Giannis is Giannis, I think they definitely have enough. They added Beasley as well off the bench. I think he'll have a bigger role than some people think as a shooter off the bench. And I think they definitely have a better chance than the Suns, who, while they might have like a big four, after that, I don't know how the rest of their team is going to mesh. So give me the Bucks.
So
I think
I'm
the
gonna
Suns-
challenge you on this. I'm gonna challenge you on this. Given the history of the super team type teams, and I use that loosely with air quotes because they're not a super team. I'm just saying, like, this is the archetype of team that the Suns are. In the regular season, I think this Suns team, and I've said it on this live stream before, I think this team is going to be a regular season killer. I think they're going to come out and be a 1 seed just because it's very, very hard in the regular season to match the type of firepower that they're going to have with a Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. It's going to be a little bit of growing pains because it's being reported that Beal and Devin Booker are going to share point guard responsibilities. And again, I don't like that for Devin Booker. I think that he needs to be taking the bulk of the shots. But again, that's neither here nor there. The regular season is all about feeling out. Teams not going to be able to feel out the Suns in the regular season, especially to begin the regular season, because they just going to, the way I see it, they're going to come out on fire. They're going to come out guns blazing. They might start off like 8-0, some crazy shit like that, just based off the fact that they got Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. Now, towards the end of the season is where we might see them start to rack up, 2 losses in a row or 3 losses in a row here. But this team is built for the regular season. They don't got a crazy bench. It's, I guess, serviceable for the regular season, or serviceable when you consider the big 3 that they got. But at least in terms of the regular season, give me the Suns. We know what this type of archetype team does in the regular season. And based off of that and strictly nothing else, give me them. Also, the Bucks have questions that they got to answer. So I'm not even sure where I place them in the – I mean, they do. But the Bucks, their questions that they got to answer are in regards to keeping Giannis and what they have to do with their future. The Suns, they locked in with their future. They all in on this bullshit super team. And I say bullshit because I don't think it's going to work in the playoffs. But I ain't talking about the playoffs. I'm talking about the regular season. So give me the Suns, at least for the regular season.
Yeah,
but wait, are you talking about this season, or are you talking about like years down the line?
I'm not talking about years down the line. I'm just talking about this season. And
well, then what does the
Giannis
point then have to do with who's better?
I'm saying the questions that they have to answer with their team have to do with down the line, but it also has to do with like this year, because how does Middleton come back from injury? He didn't look very like himself. How does Jrue Holiday fit in all of this? Do they trade him? Stuff like that. What does
I guess, but like he's still like, it's not like he can just waltz and leave next season either. You know what I mean? Like he's still on contract even next summer, and he can still sign an extension then too.
The question
I don't think that's like. I think it's going to be a whole nother summer yet before we get to that point. Yeah, we can talk about it now.
We're not talking about Giannis leaving. I'm just saying the questions that they have are in regards to Giannis leaving, and they're also like questions within the team. I guess I kind of worded it weird, but I mean, yeah, that's what I was going with that.
I feel like these looming questions that they do have for next year could affect them this year. I mean, just having the looming question of, is this guy next to you going to leave next year? What is this worth? Like, who's loyal, who's not? What is the money going to look like? Stuff like that. It definitely takes a toll on some players. Other players, they don't really even care about all that. They just want to get the job done, and that's just how it is. So I don't know what it's going to be like for this Bucks team. But I think when it comes to postseason success and postseason play, I like the Bucks. But if we're going to talk strictly after regular season and who's going to be a better seeding, better record, then I feel like the Suns just kind of have to. And I mean, even if I'm wrong here, like if I'm wrong that the Suns are not that good in the regular season or not better than the Bucks, they completely failed. Like something went terribly wrong here. Like one of the parts just is not clicking. And as you said, Mo, is the Suns have the talent of the regular season to just go out there, have the better starting lineup, play these guys a ton of minutes, and just win ball games off of that. But when it comes to the postseason, I don't think they have all the assets that really that great postseason teams have to win a potential championship or go deep into the postseason.
So let me
Well,
ask y'all. Let me ask y'all about that. Just and then I'll hand it off to Jay, so Jay can respond to this first. But like, you're talking about built for the playoffs when like Milwaukee was a first round out last year and is only getting older, and Phoenix was a second round out last year, and honestly only worked to like improve the depth and bring in that extra star versus last year where they were already very
Improve the
thin.
depth is a sneak, but
no, they did.
It was
They did.
really bad last year. I mean, it's not great still, but it's better than what it was, and they added an extra star.
I think
feel
they
like
got some
it's like a
underrated depth.
neutral, like it's a net zero. You know,
No, I think they got some underrated
something like that.
depth pieces, bro. I
But-
like y'all think y'all
bro,
gonna
they
laugh
did
at me,
they
but I
did the
like-
best that they could this offseason, but I'm still
Who are
looking
your
at their
three
bench
favorite
like,
bench players, Jay? Your three
like
favorite
Bo-
bench players in the
I like
Suns.
Bobo. Shout out to my boy Bo.
this
All
nigga,
right.
bro. He's not
You-
even finna
you-
get minutes, bro. What are you
I like-
talking
He's not
about?
even
I
gonna
like
play.
I like Eric Gordon. Big pickup that they got this offseason
Yikes.
that's not a bench player is Frank
And one-
Vogel. I think
one
Frank
more.
Vogel is really gonna make a defensive scheme that's really going to unlock some defensive potential out of both Bradley Beal, who wants to once again be a two-way player, never seen it before, but wants to be a two-way player now. Kevin Durant can play defense. Can he play defense at this age, going through all the injuries that he has? Who knows? And Devin Booker played the best defense of his career, and I think he can continue to keep that up going forward. And Mo, you said you don't like Devin Booker being a playmaker, like playing point guard as well as Bradley Beal. I actually love that for Devin Booker.
Only
I
if
think
it
Devin-
comes at the cost of him and the amount of shots that he's taking.
I think when it comes to that, I even if the shot attempts goes down, I think he's gonna get better looks because now you have to play him for the pass as well. I think this is going to be more his James Harden arc when Mike D'Antoni first got to Houston. I think this is gonna be one of those arcs for Devin Booker. But I think the Suns. What was the initial question, Gabe? Who's gonna have the better season?
Just what team do you think is better? Whatever that means to you.
Oh, I think the Suns is better. When it comes to the Bucks, I think that Giannis thing is really going to like shadow over this team because they do have to win now. Like this is a winning team. Giannis is in his prime. You cannot have another season where you flame out in the first, second, even the conference finals. You have to at least make it to the finals, bro. And Drew Holiday had one of the best seasons of his career. Can he continue to play like that? He's only 33 years old. Yes, possible. Chris Middleton coming back from that injury. I think he can once again be a high level offensive player, but what really set him apart, what really got them to the finals and won that was his defense. Can he bring that back? That's who knows. And Brook Lopez had a phenomenal defensive year. I don't think we're gonna see that Brook Lopez again, if I'm being honest. And the pieces around them, Pat Connaughton kind of fell off. I hope he comes back. That's one of my favorite role players. I really like the pickup of Malik Beasley, but how consistent is he going to be for the Bucks? Who knows? They just don't have a lot of pieces that I really like, and especially going forward, they're like you said, they're really only going to get older. They don't have any young guys that they can depend on once the old guys like start dying out. It's gonna be tough for the Bucks.
I mean, I guess other end of the argument is just like, even though it might not have completely translated in the playoffs. I mean, Brook Lopez was all right, but like not so much for Holiday. Like you could argue that Holiday and Lopez, like when Middleton was not 100%, just had like the best seasons of their career. And then also like you could maybe make the same argument for Giannis too, even though he didn't win MVP. You can make that argument as well. So it's like, I know Giannis is going to play at a high level. I don't think those guys are going to fall off drastically. And if Chris Middleton can take a leap up, and I think they did improve like some holes around their team as well, maybe not to a huge degree, but it's not like they really needed to that much. They needed to be healthy first and foremost. They haven't been healthy since they won the championship because Middleton went out, and then this past year Giannis went out. If we see them healthy and then there's issues like that, for sure. Maybe they can make a few more moves here and there, but mostly, I think it was just like looking at Grayson Allen, Wesley Matthews, and those guys at that guard position. And I think that's why they went and got a guy like Malik Beasley. So it's like you're kind of satisfying where you're missing there. The other thing I wanted to say earlier is when you said, Mo, that like in the regular season for the Suns, like they'll be able to coast because like, but come playoff time, you know, people won't have given a chance to like figure them out. Like no team in the league will have a chance to like figure them out. I think that includes the Suns to a degree. How many times have we seen a super team like that where it's like a big three and maybe they're kind of playing here and there, not all too much. And then come playoff time, it's like, well, this isn't gelling maybe the way we thought. So I think that I'm not saying that will happen. I think that is a possibility, though.
All right, so looks like we were pretty split on that one, but I like that. I like that because that means we picked some good comparisons here. I think we'll be pretty split on the next one as well. Those were two guys who might be kind of contenders. This next one is going to be two up-and-comers that are expected to make their first playoff pushes this season. So,
Wait,
next
hold
one
on. Before you go, I want to guess who it is. It's going to be the Pacers and the Thunder.
That's what I was going to guess too.
Start us off.
All right, man. I think the Thunder are going to clearly be better than the Pacers. Just from a talent perspective, they got way more talent. I like their coaching. I feel like their coaching is going to be, serviceable. They were closer to the playoffs already this season. What were they? I don't remember what seed they were, but they had 1 or 2 playing games. Can't remember, but
They were tense,
lost
and they
in
won the first playing game, then lost the second.
Yeah, that did happen. So they was 1 playing game away from making the playoffs, and I think that Shea is going to continue to play well. Maybe not to a 30-point per game, just because the ball is going to be shared a little bit more. But hey, if he does, that's great. With the addition of Chet, is going to be good as well. The progression of J Will and J Dub, both of them, especially J Dub. I really like this Thunder team. I don't know if I'm as high on them as a lot of people, because I don't know if I have them solidly in the playoffs, just because the West is kind of a toss-up. I don't know who's going to be good. I don't know who's going to, be in that playing range. But when it comes to these two teams, I think that the Thunder are going to be better. And I like how I know you. You know what I'm saying?
You were very familiar with my game.
I ain't gonna lie, it got to be the Pacers, bro. I think the Pacers are gonna be the better team. Shout out to the Thunder, but I think implementing Chet into their onto their team. They also just drafted Kason Wallace, who I think is gonna be really fucking good. But I just think they got way too many. I just think they got way too many mouths to feed over there in OKC and not enough distributing. Now, when it comes to the Pacers, they got Mr. Distributor himself and Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton is going to go crazy, although he is losing his starting shooting guard and Buddy Hield, which is definitely going to hurt. Depends what they get back in return for Buddy. That's definitely gonna hinge on how good the Pacers are going to be. But I think the Pacers are going to be a phenomenal team this year. They added Obi Toppin, instant lob threat. He could hit that corner 3. They have Miles Turner, pick and pop, elite rim protector, great interior defense. They drafted Jarris Walker, who I think is going to be really good. Honestly, sorry, Garrett and Mo. I think he's going to be better than Patrick Williams. I think he's going to be who y'all think Patrick Williams is, bro.
Wait, who'd you say is?
Jarris Walker, who they drafted this year.
I'm not too mad at that because I was most high on Jarris Walker coming into this draft.
Yeah, I think he's going to be really good. They also have Benedict Mathurin, can't forget Andrew Nembhard. They have a really, really solid team. And if everybody stays healthy, and health is very important, and that's also, I'm not 100% sure that Chet's going to play 70 games, if we're going to be honest. So, I mean, who knows? But yeah, I got the Pacers, bro.
Yeah, or go ahead and you go first. I'll go after.
I'm just gonna be real quick. I have the Pacers here. Mr. Distributor, him, Tyrese Halliburton, Gabe, me and you had talked about him so much. Tyrese Halliburton is the truth. He is the truth.
Throw me in there too. I've been saying that.
And I know y'all been chatting about it, but me and Gabe been on that bandwagon crazy.
Yeah, I've been there too. Fuck Trae Young forever.
Tyrese talk is like we can't do it on this channel right now, bro.
Tyrese Halliburton is the absolute truth. And I have on my YouTube channel from a long time ago, not that long ago, about a year ago, but I said Benedict Mathurin is the most underrated rookie coming into this season. And I am living and standing on it. He is still extremely underrated. He's going to be extremely effective and extremely highly of a producer for this Pacers team as they make a playoff push. And I'm going to say this right now on record The Pacers are a top 5 seed in the East this upcoming season.
You don't even believe that shit, bro. Like,
That's not a bad take, but like the thing is with me, it's like, see, these are two teams that are gonna finish somewhere near each other in the standings. But the reason I would give the edge to the Pacers is because I've said I feel like OKC will be somewhere around that 4 or 5 seed, and maybe Indiana might be 6. But I've already said this. Like, I think Indiana is gonna win a playoff series this year. I do, and I think Halliburton, like, I think he has all the pieces around him. Now we're gonna see what happens with Buddy Hield, if he's there or not. That's kind of a question mark right now. But even without him, it's like you still got Ben Mathurin who could fill in that void. Bruce Brown brings that championship identity. Jarris Walker, Obi Toppin, Miles Turner, Andrew Nembhard. They got just a ton of guys, and a lot of them are young and hungry, and they're going to show out every single night. Whereas, OKC, it's like they got, solid core players where it's like, of course, Shea is the star. Lou Dort definitely has shown that in big games he can rise up, especially on the defensive end. Josh Giddey as well. Chet, we're going to see what he can bring as well. But, especially like with Jalen Williams, really both of them, but I guess like the better Jalen Williams. I think we're going to see like maybe another step from him this year. And then as for the other Jalen Williams or like some of the other guys on the bench, as you mentioned, like Cason Wallace, those guys like Isaiah Joe, we're going to have to see like what those guys bring as well. Cause I think that's where the Pacers might have a little bit of an edge. And I mean, they do have a championship coach as well. So I would say the Pacers, mainly because it might be because they are in the East. If the Thunder were in their position, maybe they would win a playoff series as well. But I just feel confident about the Pacers moving into this season just a little bit more than the Thunder.
All right. Another good one, another split one, another one that had both sides. Let's see if we can wrap this up with one more. So I had a couple different options here. Some of them could have had some really great biased takes. But I'm going to wrap up on one that I think is genuinely that close. And it's because they were close in the seeds last year. And after being close in the seeds, they had a similar exit to they had a similar exit in the playoffs as well. Both of them were first round outs. And both of them were first round outs while being favored in their series. And this is where I have the Kings and the Grizzlies, two of the top teams in the West. Teams that should be more on the up. But we'll see who you guys think is better.
I ain't gonna lie. Well, let me cook real quick. I ain't gonna lie. I wish we did the segment before this because I got both. I'm selling both their stocks, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm selling both their stocks, bro. But I know you said who's better. Obviously, the Kings is better, but I just want to cook on the Memphis Grizzlies real quick. Obviously. I don't think they should have lost Dylan Brooks, bro. That small forward position, it has a big hole in it. You're looking for David Roddy to fill that in? That's kind of tough. You're looking for you're gonna play Marcus Smart after 3? I don't know about that. You're losing John Morant for 25 games. You're losing John Morant.
You don't think they're gonna run Bane at the 3?
That's nasty.
Yeah, you don't think they will? So what? Who's going to start at point then?
Derrick Rose.
It'll be Josh. All right.
Well, Derrick Rose starting up. I love
Derrick
that
Rose
narrative
until probably Ja gets back. Smart at the 2, Bane at the 3.
I genuinely think it better serve them if they put Marcus Smart at the 3 instead of Desmond Bane because you look. Well,
either way, it's like
he could guard up.
I mean, you're not
Marcus Smart
there. He's a defensive player of the year.
David Roddy should start on this team.
But also they still are without Brandon Clark, who tore his Achilles. Steven Adams is clear to start training camp, but do we know how good he's going to be to start the year? I don't know. That's putting a lot of pressure on Jaren Jackson Jr., who I think should take that next step, who should welcome the pressure and really take the next step in his game for real. But there's a lot of questions when it comes to that Memphis Grizzlies team. But when it comes to the Sacramento Kings, bro, let's be honest, they were not a good defensive team. They were not a good defensive team, and the only reason they were so good last year was they had a historical offense, and they were incredibly healthy. And I do think they're going to be the better team when it comes to the Memphis Grizzlies in comparison, because I still believe in De'Aaron Fox. I think he's going to continue to get better. I think Kevin Huerter is going to be consistent because he started the year off hot, and then he obviously flamed out. I still believe in Sabonis. I think Sabonis has been working tirelessly on that outside shot because once he unlocks that unlocks the entire Kings offense. I mean, that's going to be crazy. The pick and pop is going to be generational. They also got Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray is going to take the next step in his game as well. I think Keegan Murray is going to be one of the next up and coming sharpshooters. Like when it comes to like players that are like dead eye from outside, I think Keegan Murray is number one on that list. But yeah, I got the Sacramento Kings being better.
I think that at least for the Grizzlies, the biggest thing for me watching them the last couple of years, even when Ja was out there, now usually it was better without Ja, and that's mainly because Tyus Jones is out there and he plays more like a traditional point guard. But it's like sometimes their offense felt like stagnated. I feel like what you're going to see though this year is and I'm not trying to be biased. I'm not trying to glaze. This is actually how I think it is. But I feel like with D Rose there, I feel like it's going to actually guide them a little bit better into offensive sets more consistently. That it'll be more down pat than everybody just kind of freelancing and there's no action going on, no motion on offense or anything like that. And I think it's going to bring out the best in guys like Bane. I think Marcus Smart will be a little bit more settled on the offensive end too. And maybe sometimes it felt like he was kind of asked to do more than he was supposed to, or pressured to oh, I need to do this, I need to do that as well in big moments. And sometimes it felt like he did a little bit too much than he should have. I feel like with Memphis, you probably won't see that as much. And then also we talked about Jaren Jackson Jr., but they bring it on both ends of the floor. They've had experience winning without Ja, and I feel like they have enough pieces. Whether they lost Brooks and Tyus Jones, I think adding Rose, adding Marcus Smart, I think Bane is going to take a step up. I think they're going to be good enough that in the meantime, without Ja, they'll be fine. And then when Ja comes back, they'll even probably take another leap up. But with the Kings, it's like you even said, they won 48 games last year. They were the most healthy team in the Western Conference. They didn't really play much defense. And it's just I don't see that necessarily happening again. And I mean, more people are going to be playing more games, especially after the new CBA. That's just going to happen. And do we know if these guys are going to be healthy again, all of them to the same capacity? I don't know. And because of that, it's yeah, they're still going to be a competitive team for sure. They'll probably at least be a 500 team or right around there, but they'll probably find themselves more so in the play-in, maybe the back end of the play-in. And you might see the same thing about the Grizzlies because they're missing Ja early on. But I feel like the Grizzlies, over the last couple of years, they've been a little bit more consistent when it comes to that. The Kings, they did have 1 year. They need to just show me again where it's are they a team that's here for a mainstay, or is it going to be something like my Bulls 2 years ago, where we had a great year as the 1 seed, and then Lonzo goes down, and then all of a sudden we can't win a game. Or, the Knicks before, obviously, they had the great year. The next year they come back, obviously had a few injuries, but they fell off a cliff. And then, of course, they got Brunson back, and then now they look better last year. But it's I need to see if it's something like that first before I can actually give them the nod here. I'm going to go with the Grizzlies.
I think I'm going to stick here with the Grizzlies. I'll keep it short and sweet. And I don't want to be too biased here, but Derrick Rose on this team is absolutely a huge, huge, huge get because I think he adds that stability at the point guard position, especially when Ja Morant is going to be out for these first 25 games. And on top of that, he's just a veteran presence, which is quite obviously something that this team has needed just as a whole. I mean, we saw Steven Adams talk about how he had a team meeting and told everybody we need to lock in. We all need to stop fooling around. We need to play smart basketball. We need to lock in off the court as well. And guess what? Nobody locked in. Everybody went out. Stop.
You're an asshole, Garrett.
And it's, nobody locked in. We got the Ja Morant situation going on, and hopefully yeah. And I think hopefully Derrick Rose and Ja Morant can have a connection at some point. I surely hope that's what happens because I think that those two as a combination. I think Derrick Rose can teach Ja Morant.
You did not just say combination again, bro. Are you serious?
No,
that shit don't count. You get that shit 4 years.
We gotta
later.
ban this word, bro.
Okay, so as a pairing, as a grouping.
Now that just sounds sus, bro. As a grouping.
As a couple? As a couple?
Nelson, please.
Just continue, bro.
Ja Morant and Derrick Rose. I hope that Derrick Rose can teach him a thing or two, not only off the court, but also on the court.
All right, man.
All right, I'm going to keep it pushing. Yeah, I got the Grizzlies.
Well, since I'm the final opinion, I'm not going to tie it up. I'm going to also go with the Grizzlies. In my opinion, if the Kings don't take like a substantial lead on them in the regular season, wins wise, then they're not going to like take that leap once John Morant comes back, because I think that we've already seen what the Grizzlies are without John Morant. They've been very successful without John Morant. I have no reason to believe that that's going to change outside of, Dylan Brooks being gone, and that is a big loss for them defensively. But with we just lauded Jaren Jackson Jr. as one of the top defenders in the league. So if anybody should be able to pick up his slack, it will be him, and I think that he'll be able to. So give me the Grizzlies being better than the Kings. I also, what I'm saying, the jury's still out on if my biggest question is Sabonis. Is Sabonis going to continue to be that player that we saw in the regular season? And in my opinion, the jury's still out on that. I'm not completely sold. I don't know if it's going to be all the way there. And because I still have those questions, and the questions about the Grizzlies without John Morant have basically been answered for the past 2 seasons now, I'm picking the Grizzlies to be better.
Yeah, I think as a whole, the Grizzlies probably are the better team among the two. I do think it is close because I think that right now a lot of people are down on the Grizzlies, and especially like the Grizzlies in the playoffs, the way they went out, and especially their future looking weird with like these different job suspensions and all that. I think the future looks a bit bleaker than the Kings, who while they went out in the first round, they fought really hard, and really, besides Sabonis' personal underperformances, I wasn't really that mad or upset about anything that they did once they got there. Like, I thought they had a pretty decent showing against the Warriors, and it took a Curry 50-piece in Game 7 to really knock them off. There's what I can glaze Curry for this episode, because it hasn't happened yet. But with that said, that does bring us to the end of this stream. There is one more thing I have to acknowledge before we get off of here. The Bengals are not 0-3. We are now 5 seconds from now officially 1-2. We are on the board. Thank you.
And last in the AFC North.
Just had to throw that out there.
Yo, run me my game.
Just had to throw that out there. But with that said, if you still are here, we do appreciate having you in chat. We appreciate anybody who viewed this stream from the very beginning to the end. Thank you for sticking with us. We will be back on Saturday with a bright new topic. It could be the center rankings. It could be something completely new. You'll just have to stay tuned and see what we have cooking for you. But on behalf of the entire panel, we will see you guys on Saturday.
Peace.